Dun, 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 dun. Hey, everybody. It is Tuesday, March 28th. Yep, had to look, wasn't quite sure. We're here at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Contractors Corner, in case you, I don't know, didn't know. That's cool. Welcome, everybody. We are here. Look, and so is Jeff. He's on the wrong side, but there's Jeff. There he is. And
Hey, look
what's
look
going
at look
on?
at look at who's not in timeout. 2 weeks since the big incident, and it hasn't
Right?
gone back in timeout. I'm
Look,
proud
I've
of you,
been good.
Charlie. I'm
Look,
proud of you, Charlie.
yes. Thank you, sir.
And when Charlie and I first started working today, we were doing some stuff for some other people's, and he was all scraggly, and he went and got himself cleaned up. Look at that,
Right? A little less ugly.
looking good.
Whoop, whoop. Watch
I
this.
could
Watch
not
this.
get in to get my hair done, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. That was weird. Okay. I'm just going to say that felt odd. Hey, so we got people, but you know what? What's more important? Who was first? Right there. Where's my W2? Alan Becker was first at 3:50 p.m. today. Just saying, y'all are dedicated, man. You guys that fight for that first spot. And Craig was like less than a minute behind him. It was great. He was like, bam, I'm here. There's Craig. So yeah, but we got some people. So how y'all doing? James Vaughn, I see you, sir. Uh, yo, he said. He guessed at the fuel surcharge earlier. He was wrong. Just saying. Uh,
He was dreaming, and
he
I'm
was.
right there with him. I wish he was right, but he's not.
He was
But
hoping that it had gone up.
yeah, it's interesting. We'll
Chuck,
get into it later, but there's definitely a definite trend right now with fuel prices.
right? Trucker Dan, what's up? Hey, buddy. What's up, man? Jonah Green, good evening. Trucking with Otis Campbell, good to see you, sir. Bitcoin John. Dude, that guy is a beast at referring people on that fuel card. Like,
He's what
holy
we
cow,
he's what we consider an ambassador
for real.
for
Like,
reals.
that guy is out there telling people about the card, spreading the good word. I mean, it is just something else. Darian Thompson, good to see you. Mark Torres, what's going on, man? Hope you and the wife are safe out there.
Where
Uh,
they at? Where they at?
he just said hello. I don't know where they're at.
Oh, well, we got some things going on in like Mississippi and stuff. I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, they've been running a lot of good long loads. And honestly, I spoke to Darlene the other day. I had a nice conversation with her. Did some talking about insurance stuff and all that kind of nonsense. And some people
All the
think it's
all
nonsense,
that boring business stuff.
right? Right. Let's see who do we got. Ken Kelly's up in there. Mike Henderson. Ken Kelly,
Oh, Ken Kelly, yeah, you were grumpy today, Ken. I saw your post on the
right?
group. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Craig is back. Where's my W2? Alan Becker's back. Matt Nissen guessing. Matt Nissen guessing. You like that?
Yeah.
I like that. Callie Hustle, what's going on, man? Mike Ford, good to see you, buddy. Kenneth Hayslip, good to see you. So, yeah, the fuel surcharge is 0.475. We actually talked about it earlier in the chat, in case anyone was watching. James Bond is right now. He was way off earlier, but he was in Dreamland and it was cool. Andrew
So,
Bagwandine. What? I
hey,
did
look at
right.
that. You did it.
I
You
had to
did it.
stop and think about it before I spoke it.
Give yourself a trophy.
Trophies. Anybody else want one? Jeff's giving out trophies. He's pretty free with them today. Just saying. Yeah. So, how y'all doing? Where's everybody at? You guys out there making some money? I hope. I know it's been a rough, long stretch, guys, and I think that we just got to keep doing what we're doing. Not to bring it down. Bring it down. Right? Yeah. I uh I had loads from home to Vegas.
Like stack. Bam, bam, bam.
It's kind of up in the air right now. We may work something out in the middle. Was all set to get to Vegas on the second with an Amazon load that is good. It's the first load from Alabama to Texas that they changed on me. They changed my delivery date from the 30th to the 31st, which is a bummer because my Amazon load picks up on the 30th. So I don't know. Michael Ford's home again. He's up there in that great Northwest holy space. That's what Matt. Look at Matt in Vegas. What the heck? You're a week early, brother. You better make it back in time. We're gonna fight. I will fight your big self. I'm not okay. I'll just hug you.
I'll sell tickets. We'll give it to Swift Charities.
Just watch Charlie get pummeled.
I think it would be more like you remember the Princess Bride with the giant, Andre the Giant, and just
right.
bonk.
One of the greatest movies ever made, Princess Bride. I'm sorry, I only dog pedal. I love that line. Darren Townsend is over in Florence, South Carolina. James is at home in Mexico. Trucker Dan's in Indiana on his way to Alabama. Mike deadheaded from Vegas to Salt Lake City. Nick Earl, good to see you. Jonah Green said he's over in Greer, South Carolina. Had to get tablet fixed and get on Michelle's nerves. Good job. I highly recommend that because, every now and then she needs a good tickle or a poke or I don't know. That sounded weird, and that was not my intention. Stop it. God, you guys are wrong, man.
I'll be right back. The Amazon guy just came.
Oh, that's hot. Mike Henderson had to buy new steer tires on this truck. I'm turning in on June 14th. Bummer. Well, you would have had to buy them then anyhow. So, you get below that 1 point, and they're like, "What the heck?" Wait. That was a good one. Isn't Matt fighting Allen? That would be fun to watch. It'd be like watching two big bulls up on a hilltop just going at it. You know what I mean? Just and I think like that's the sounds we would hear. Just saying. Callie Hustle's over in Virginia. Oh, there's a question. Roland, what's up, buddy? So did Swift push back the dateline for Camera's insurance? Why, yes. Yes, sir, they did. The camera has now been pushed back to May 1st. We had Brett on, was it last week before? Can't remember. And where he mentioned that they were going to push back the camera mandate to May 1st. So, yeah, it's a thing.
So, it just came, Charlie.
Uh-oh.
This is kind of exciting. This was addressed to me, care of me, by Alan Becker.
Oh.
So we've got, and this is going to be raffled off at the conference, by the way. Brass compression caps.
Wait.
7-piece filter socket set.
Look at that.
A Davco wrench for the smaller one, anyway. And oil filter wrench set.
Look at that.
I know that there's a couple more packages coming from Alan with more tools that you ordered to show us some stuff, and all of it's going to get raffled off at the conference. So that's kind of exciting, man. Glad that I took the time.
So, Roland, I hope that answered your question, buddy. Ken Kelly said he's shut down in Oregon. I-5 is closed in NorCal. Whiteout. Oh, boy.
Still or again? Because that's been crap. Oh, man, crazy.
Ain't that the truth? I bet those flicking scales are open, though. You're right.
Oh, yep.
They're hanging out waiting for you. They're like, come on, Ken Kelly. We're waiting for you, sir.
Well, the thing is, though, is that the scales in Oregon, though, they'll pull you in, but then bypass you inside the station. So there you go.
Right. Victor Jackson's over in Texas. Shake it, man. I'll be there sometime Thursday. Not sure where. Not sure how those loads are going to work out. Oh, my God. Cool. Roland said we answered the question. Awesome, man. But, yeah, dude, so, yeah, they pushed the camera mandate out to May 1st. Seriously, don't delay. They're supposed to be getting those other cameras in those 3 terminals. What is it? Greer, Memphis,
and Phoenix.
So
one of the things that Brett said, one of the things Brett said, though, like for me, I'm up in West Valley most of the time because that's where I live. All I have to do is, call Juice and say, hey, can you have one of those Netrodynes set up to West Valley for me? And they'll do that.
There you go.
So you don't have to get to one of those terminals. You just have to be at a terminal long enough to get the package, and they'll install it for you. And, for those of you guys that have been watching, I'm in the middle of an insurance thing, so I haven't been able to switch yet because I have an open claim. And Charley and I were talking, I might just have them put a Netrodyne in for now. It's a good camera. I can finance it through Swift, so whatever.
Right, 700 installed.
Right, and they'll bill it to me over time. And then when I switch insurance officially, I just take away their access to it. And then I have a camera that's a really nice camera. I've been using the one on my Ram McNally tablet, which is kind of a crappy camera in comparison. I mean, it does the job, but it's better than nothing. But, I have my eye on those Falcon eyes. I still like that system quite a bit. Our buddy Alan Becker's had them on his truck, and he's had a couple problems with them, specifically with the remote ones, not the forward-facing one, but the remote ones.
Right.
And so he's looking at other options as well. So, I mean, it's a good camera. If you buy it from Netrodyne, they want that $1,500 up front for the 3-year subscription.
And you don't own the camera. You don't own the camera.
And you don't own the camera. So,
if you get it from Swift, you own the camera, and then would have to pay for service if that's what you want.
Yep.
For the coaching service.
So that's the component I don't really know is what that would cost me if I wanted to go outside Swift for that. One thing I do know is I don't want Swift coaching me. If I'm going to buy a coaching service, I want it to be my coaching service.
Right. Hey,
the main thing is though, liability. Have a camera on the truck so that when that 4-wheeler cuts you off by crossing 4 lanes of traffic to hit that exit in a snowstorm, you got that on video for the lawyers. Right?
Right. Hey, let's do the fuel surcharge. Because, it needs to happen. We talked about it briefly, but let's do the real thing. So here we go. Y'all hold on to your drawers. I had to think about a word. I almost got lost there. It was terrible. So the national diesel fuel cost average went down 0.057 to 4.128 this week. The West Coast Pad 5 went down 0.059, almost the identical drop as the national there, to 4.803. That's going to bring the the regular OTR fuel surcharge to 0.475 cents per dispatch loaded mile. That is a change of 0.011 for the week, and the West Coast fuel surcharge stayed at 0.10 because the discrepancy or disparity between the West Coast Pad 5 and the national average is 0.675 cents. There you go. That's fuel surcharge. We'll be right back. Watch this. Pow. And I did it right. Look at it. I pushed all the right buttons. We're there. We're here. Oh, my God. Don't even know how to act. Let me put that banner across the bottom. By the way, if any of you want to call, there's the number, 813-LIVE-SCC. Or you can call 813-548-3722. And you'll answer. Well, our little Google Assistant thing will answer it. And sometimes it's funny when you talk to her. It says some strange things sometimes to us. And so if you want to call in, by all means, feel free to do that, and we will get to you just as quick as we can. I'm trying to keep that screen up so I see when you guys call. Let me put the banner for the fuel surcharge across the bottom of the screen. There you go. Pow! 323.23 to 329.23. There's your fuel surcharge for the week.
Yay.
For those of you who might not know, we have this little Vegas thing happening next week. So Jeff and I are getting pretty excited. We got a lot of things that we've been working on. We've been working on a lot lately. Jeff, would you like to talk about what you've been working on, your big focus the last couple of weeks?
Big focus. I like that.
You like that? Because it is.
That's
been a big focus.
Charley and I have been reading books.
Right.
So, I've been getting a lot of questions from you guys about who we're going to end up endorsing for bookkeeping and accounting. And I finished up my vetting of this company today. I actually went down and talked face to face with the owner, Colton. And those of you that know who Colton is, he is the trucker CFO.
Wait here, let me make it bigger. Put it up.
You
There you
make
go.
it big.
Yeah, there you go.
I even got a pen. I even got a pen.
He got
I
a
like,
pen.
I like pens.
I didn't get a pen. I
So
haven't gone over there yet.
we're gonna have him on the show on the 11th of April. Will be when we officially introduce him to everybody. Colton is the owner of Trucker CFO. We got introduced to him by Jeff Reese at ES Advantage in trucking.
So it turns out those two are friends and like doing a pod. They like had just recently done a podcast together. Like, and we're like, Jeff Reese, we're still looking for an accountant. He's like, oh yeah, I got a buddy.
Yep.
Well, okay, cool. It's weird, man. Like we keep running into stuff through our friendship and relationship through ES Advantage that just keeps getting better and better, guys. So this is a plug for building relationships.
Yes, absolutely. So here's how the vetting process went with this guy, with his firm. It was the guy, because he actually took the lead. He didn't shove it off to a lackey or anything like that.
Well,
he actually got into a conference call with us and Jeff. Jeff made the introduction, and then Colton just took off on this whole
ear off that day.
Yeah, we learned more about the accounting side of the operation from him in that one conversation than we've learned in probably our entire
years, decade, well over a decade.
So the guy's a wealth of information. He before I signed with him just over a week ago. I think I told some of you guys, hey, okay, I've signed the contract to have him take over my bookkeeping, and you know how it is with us, you guys. We had to vet this guy. We weren't just going to come on here and say, hey, here's this dude. Right. Have at it. This guy took some serious time to educate me on some things I was doing wrong in my business. Yeah. And I'm going to
both of us.
And one of them kind of surprised us. And again, I have to point out that we are not licensed bookkeepers, financial planners, or accountants. So yes, we were doing things wrong. And he pointed them out and said, dude, you're doing that wrong. And I'm like, dude, how do I fix that? He says, dude, come see me.
Right.
And since I live 40 miles from his office, my wife and I went in and talked to him today. And by the way, Charlie, Donna was fired today.
Right.
She is no longer the CFO.
She was wait. She was fired by
Colton.
Told her to her face.
So as you guys know, I always introduce my wife as my CFO of my company, Morton Transportation. Colton fired her today and then immediately rehired her as my controller. That is her new role in the company.
Is it controller or comptroller?
There's a weird thing. Controller. I don't know. I'll ask.
Understand that word.
Because I need to solidify what her job title is so I can make her work.
I feel like I need to look up the definition.
So a couple of quick differences between him and what we've experienced in the past. The active role thing really impressed us. Like he takes an active role in the day-to-day at his company. He's smaller than other vendors that we've used in the past, but I think that works for us because I kid you not, I send an email to Jessica, my advisor, and I'll have an answer within an hour. Even if it's, I don't know. And that impressed the heck out of us.
Right.
I was asking Colton during the initial interview with him about changing payroll companies because there's a payroll company they recommend, which I'm not going to go with at this time. And we can go into that if you guys have questions about payroll that have your S Corps. But I asked him about, so what happens if I switch payroll companies mid-year? And you know what Colton said, Charlie? He said,
what did he say?
He said, I don't know, but I have a lady in the office that deals with all the payroll stuff. Let me ask her and get back to you.
Amazing.
He did not pull something out of his butt.
Here it is. Oh no, that didn't happen. You like
Yeah.
that? I'm like animated today.
The man is just like, hey, if he knows it, he's going to tell you. And by the way, he will tell you.
I wish I could be a cartoon character. Is that wrong?
No, you
My
already
bad.
are. Yep. So he's right now he's helping me redo how I pay myself. And the thing that surprised both Charlie and I was apparently we've been doing per diem incorrectly for all
Right.
these years. You
Oh
know,
my God.
there's a specific way you're supposed to do it as an S corp versus a sole proprietorship. And no, I'm not gonna answer what the difference is because
Right.
again, I'm not a CPA. But that's one of the questions on the 11th when we have him on the show. I'm going to have him go over this because it's fascinating. It really is. There's a specific way you're supposed to do per diem as an S corp because you work for the S corp. You're not. You know, you kind of. The short answer is you kind of have to do it the way Swift does it with their employees.
Right.
And he has some recommendations, which he will give you one-on-one when you do your initial consult on how to do that.
Right.
A lot of you guys that keep asking us, should I have an LLC? Should I have an S corp? Well, now with confidence, I can say, well, you know, I have my opinion, but call this dude,
Right. It's right there at the bottom of the screen.
Trucker CFO, and they will go over your business and recommend to you whether they think you should go S
You
corp or
can
not.
email them at info@truckercfo.com. You can go to their website, www.truckercfo.com, or you can call 1-800-533-4230. Hey, mention Contractors Corner. Let them know you heard about it. Just
Yep.
saying.
And here's his whole philosophy. You're the CEO. This is what he told us on our initial contact. You, Charlie, are the CEO of your company.
I get to be CEO.
You hire me to be your CFO, hence the name Trucker CFO. So they will.
And then he fires your wife.
Then he fires your wife, yep, and then rehires her in some other BS
By the way,
position.
comptroller is a controller used in the title of some financial officers. Huh?
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Well, she does handle all the money, so.
See? So that's a fitting title, comptroller.
How much are his services? Okay, so this is where we get into some stuff. All right. I can tell you this. The level of service that I elected, I am happy to report was less than ATBS. Not much, but it's less. A couple bucks a week. And that's for the full-blown S corp stuff.
Right. Yes.
At the sole proprietor stuff is about $1.50, $2 more than ATBS charges.
Right.
But I would encourage you to have that not be the primary question. The primary question is when you call your bookkeeper, in this case, do they answer the phone? Do they answer your questions? Do they actually advise you? Because that's been our problem with other firms in the past is that can, especially the consulting piece, right, Charlie?
Yes. And look, so I don't know if you should say this, but Jeff has actually spoken with a big dude at ATBS.
Yeah, and you know, so I have to say something about this because he is a brilliant analyst, this guy.
Right.
Like you talk to him about the business of trucking and oh my God, you're gonna be like, you know, he called me initially because he heard that I was dissatisfied with the service and he wanted to find out as the CEO what was going on. Well, that turned into this hour-long conversation about rates and lanes and fuel surcharge and how I actually make my money and what am I doing about fuel and this and that. It was I'm just going to come out and be honest here, guys. I wish he had called me a year ago like this.
Right.
Because I feel like maybe I would have given them a better chance. You know what I mean? But as it is, you know, and he brutally honest guy as well. he said, he understands, and their firm with the S Corp stuff fell behind big time last year. That just happened to be I got caught up in that because I had to change to S Corp right in the middle of this
Right.
big tsunami of new clients they got that they could not handle. They are, I'm going to give them a bit of a shout out. They are trying to rectify that, but at the same time, I have to tell you, I've got a business to run.
Right.
I will still say that ATBS, if you're a sole proprietor, they do a really good job. They kept me from paying taxes for 14 years, guys. I mean, I think I paid taxes twice in 14 years, and those were just bumper years.
But we got to say, from
But
not bashing anybody, but the level of service that we're seeing with Trucker CFO is what makes the difference. I mean,
Yeah.
it's communication, availability.
This is like with the insurance guys. Again, we vetted the heck out of them too. It took us 3 months to put a package together, right? You guys are getting really impatient with us on that. But anyway,
Right.
As I've worked with Colton and his people, the level of service, I actually, if he would have told me, oh, it's going to cost you twice as much as ATBS, I'd still be considering it. That's the level of service they're offering me. For you guys that have small fleets out there, whether you're at Swift or not, you really ought to call Colton, because they offer services that other accounting firms don't even offer.
Right.
For you guys that are, the number that he used was, if you have a gross receipts, that's your before any expenses at all, is above $250,000. You need a different service to keep your nose clean for the IRS. That's another thing Charlie and I didn't know, because I've never gotten to that level. You probably were when you had your small fleet, Charlie.
Yes.
I think add another truck and you're at that level, basically.
Right. Pretty easy.
But there's services above what every most other accounting firms don't even offer, that he offers for those fleet owners.
And don't take us wrong, we're not cracking on ATBS. Look, I mean, we've been very vocal about what our thoughts were and our feelings and all that sort of thing, and our opinions. And feelings are one thing, but business is another. And the two kind of don't mesh well sometimes, right? So ATBS is a great big firm that's out there doing that thing, and they're doing their thing, and they know they've got some things to work on, and they're working on them. But right now, what we're saying is that CFO is the way to go for us. Totally dig the service. You know what I mean? And like Mike Henderson said, when I first started with ATBS 15 years ago, they were helpful. Now they're good for you in Texas. And that's not an uncommon feeling from people that we talk to every day when we talk about bookkeeping and accounting, which is what got Jeff and I looking for an alternative. And boy, this isn't news to them.
No, they know. And their core business, they have this box that 90% of their business fits in.
Right.
And they do really good inside that box.
Right.
But you start adding an S Corp in there, a small fleet in there.
Right.
They just don't click.
Right.
They're not equipped for that. So you go to a guy like Trucker CFO, someone that has all of the services that you could possibly need, even years down the road.
From start to finish.
Charlie and I have thought about building a 10 truck fleet just at Contractors Corner. We would need the services that Trucker CFO is offering us. Any less service could get us in trouble with the tax man.
Right.
Just saying. And he even brought some stuff up, Charlie, about healthcare and being on the Affordable Care Act stuff.
Right.
That I was not aware of. That just came up in the conversation. What are you doing for healthcare? Well, we're on Obamacare because the government thinks we're poor. Right.
Right.
And he said, well, there's a problem with that. And he went over it with us. And we're like, ah, crap. So this, again, another thing that other vendors have never even brought up to me. Right. So
Bear Hunter, hang your head, Sean.
Better late than what are you doing, man? He didn't even make it last week, did he? He was
Right.
like wanting to be number one, and he didn't
Right.
even
And then,
freaking
yeah.
log in. He was literally talking to me and Charlie on the phone when Charlie was building the live thing, and we're like,
Right.
"Okay, go now," and he didn't. So,
Right. Good
so yeah,
stuff.
I mean, we just really wanted to announce it today because again, I've been getting a lot of messages on the PM side. Hey,
Right.
what are you doing? How's that thing going? Well, that's how it's going. We're officially behind Trucker CFO now, and we're going to have him on the 11th, so that's 2 weeks from now. And
Our buddy
we're going
Jeff
to
Reese should
ask
be there too.
Jeff Reese will be there to introduce him to us because he's the man. And yeah, we're gonna get answers that we've kind of. So Charlie and I kind of know stuff, but we can't say stuff because we're not licensed. You know, we keep telling you
Right.
guys that. This guy's licensed, so if you have questions on S corp, taxes, whatever, that's the week to ask because we're going to have a licensed guy that can actually answer with authority.
And from that point on, we'll have a guy.
That's right. We will have a guy.
So I want to get back to something else here. The fuel surcharge back across the bottom screen. By the way, if any of you want to call in, feel free to do so. You can do that now by calling 813-548-3722. Phones are open. And but there were some questions that I want to go back to on the camera stuff. So let me scroll back. Darian asked, question is an owner op. If I put a driver in a truck, would I be able to use Swift system to track my trucks?
I don't know.
So it's a weird thing. They would not give you an AS400 login for a couple of trucks. I know people that have larger fleets in the past had AS400 access somehow. I don't know what that magic number is to get to that point. I never got there with 3 trucks, so 3 trucks wasn't it.
It might be a relationship thing.
It very well could be. So I'm not sure, but they will definitely assign them an OOC, driver leader, that sort of thing, and that will track your trucks. And you should build a relationship with that individual to help keep on top of things and things like that. Plus, you should be tracking with your drivers individually as well, and you'll have full access to the settlements and for every truck that you have on your little fleet. So you'll be able to track numbers that way. And then Kevin Ulrich said, "Can we ask to purchase the next time from Swift and keep access to ourselves? I already have Seabright." Yes, you actually can.
Did we get an answer on that?
Yeah, well, Brett said you could buy the camera
Okay.
from Swift. I mean,
Because I say it's a great camera. We've seen video footage from it, and boy, is it clear.
And so that would dip into Ken Hayslip's question: can you get the camera out of service? I believe the answer is yes. We will dip further into that as we can, and I'll see if we can't get a much more solidified answer. So
Yeah.
again,
So what
not
from what
positive,
we've
but pretty
heard,
darn
Kenneth,
sure.
though, is if you buy a Netrodyne from Netrodyne, guys are telling us that what they want you to do is get that 3-year subscription, and then
Right.
you don't own the camera. So I don't know. We need to look into that, I guess, don't we?
Yeah, I don't know how the storage system works on the Camry either. If it's all cloud based, or if there's a physical hard drive type deal. Definitely something to dip in more to, I think. Yeah, Sean. I bet I'll be on time to Vegas. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, sir.
I don't know. The last time we were in Vegas, we had to go find you and your wife in a casino somewhere. Just saying. Charlie and I had to ride the bus to the strip to go find you.
Right. A long bus.
I wanted
ride.
to
It was a
address
comical bus ride.
Okay, go ahead.
That one?
No.
Oh, here.
Go ahead.
We'll come back to Mike.
So, James, I drove across country last week, like from Alabama all the way to Salt Lake City. And I can tell you every day, no matter where I was, the prices were going down at midnight. So I don't know if it's going up in some places. You know, you have to remember that what this is I always forget that they can't see my cursor, Charlie.
Right. What are you
If it's
pointing
going
to?
up in, say, your area, well, it probably went down even more in a different area, because what this is the national average. So all lower 48 states, right, Charlie? It doesn't
Right.
count Alaska and Hawaii, does it?
Correct.
And then, when we're talking about the Pad 5 down there, it does break it up into different regions. So, what's the Gulf Coast region looking like? Because isn't
Gulf
that kind of
Coast.
where he's kind of by there, maybe close-ish?
Gulf Coast has steadily been dropping week after week for the last 3.
Yeah.
It's
And
down to 3.882. I can make that bigger if you guys want. Here, let me do this. Might help a little bit. Because some of you guys are on phones. I get it. Sorry. But yeah, so but you look at the prices, and I mean, look, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's showing the overall average in each zone has gone down. Sometimes you see it up.
well,
But
for a while there, Charlie, remember when everybody else was going down except the Northeast,
right. Oh
and
yeah,
the
the
it
East
was
Coast was
crazy.
going
Guys were getting
nuts.
pissed off. Where's my differential for the Northeast? Well, there
Right.
isn't one in the contract, so get
That's
out
a
of the
bummer.
Northeast. So,
But that's where you can see this is you go to the EIA site. Oh my God, I can't talk. And you can see this information every week, guys. They put a report out usually by about 5 p.m. on Monday, as long as Monday's not a bank holiday
mhm.
or a federal holiday, rather. And this report goes up. You can get it emailed to you. You just sign up to get it dropped in your email, and you'll get that report. And then you can take these numbers, this magic number here, and this magic number here, go to your contract, and
You'll
figure out
see
what
what
the
the fuel
fuel
surcharge
surcharge
is,
is. So you
and the
take that
West
number,
Coast
that'll tell you
differential.
what it is. Right. And the West Coast, you take this number here, subtract this number here, that difference, and then look in the West Coast fuel surcharge section of your contract, and it'll show you exactly what the price is,
Yeah,
what your West Coast fuel surcharge is.
yeah. I don't even do this, guys, because Charlie does it. Why would I do it if Charlie does it?
Man, I wait. I'm like, here it comes,
So,
here it comes.
but
It came out early yesterday.
but it's not a mystery how this is figured out.
Right.
You can all do it yourself. If you're really curious, and the way Charlie and I do it, we actually signed up for this email where EIA sends us an email as soon as the report gets released with those numbers. So it shows up in our inbox, and you open the email, and that table that he just showed you, that's what's there.
Right.
Don't even have to go to the website. It's just
Right.
in my email. So then I can go to my trusty ICOA and look at the fuel surcharge table, and I can see what my fuel surcharge is.
Pretty awesome.
A day, sometimes 5 before Swift tells me.
Look, we've been known to correct the fuel surcharge put out by the owner operator division because I am so anal about it. Because I'm just chomping at the bit. Like every week, I want to know what it is as soon as I possibly can know. It's one of my weird little things. I can't help it. And several weeks in the past, they've put out a number. I'm like, hey, send a message to Brett or someone in the division. Hey, the fuel surcharge you guys put out wrong. They're like, oh crap, and they put out the new one. They're like, hey, by the way, here's the fixed one.
Do they ever give Charlie credit?
No, but it's okay. Whatever, they're fine. So Tennessee Trucking, one of our new friends there, said, hello there, fellas. Rough week, food poisoning, and then a chest cold. Still banged out. 3,489 miles. Dude, you are killing it. Do it.
Do
That's
you
what I'm
have your
talking about.
do you have your real truck yet? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Did you get your truck yet? Are you still in that loaner? That's a thing.
Ugh.
Can you switch from the smart drive camera to the natural drive? I'm sure you can for a cost.
Mhm.
Let's be real. There's money involved here.
Yep. I
Uh,
would. If you're gonna stick with the Swift insurance for whatever reason,
right.
I would make that deal, because I would not have a smart drive. The smart drive. We're talking about a camera that the vice president of the division has said, don't get that camera.
Right.
Of all the cameras that would put your contract in jeopardy, the smart drive is the worst. because it's integrated into the Swift system, and there's that possibility that somebody's not paying attention. They don't realize you're an owner operator, and all of a sudden you get ticked with something. You know, just stay away from that smart drive. Ugh.
Look at this. Mike Anderson said, my new healthcare insurance is outside of ACA, and we get to write it off on our taxes. I still will never forget that without you guys and ES, I wouldn't have insurance. Thanks, guys. Hey, man, that's awesome. Seriously, I look, you gave me like goosebumps. I'm like, cool, we helped somebody. That's awesome. We dig it, man. That's what we're all about. You know, we're trying to help everybody get to a better place in their business so that they can get to a better place in their life, right? And you know, when we can bring some of these deals together to help you guys save more money, then man, we're all about it. You know, again, it's not always about the bottom dollar on the product. I mean, you know, when we first looked at the insurance deal, you know, it was going to come in just slightly higher than what Swift was paying, what we were paying Swift at the time for insurance,
Mm-hmm.
or rather paying their insurance carrier, excuse me. Anyhow, right? I know. Anyhow, yeah. But and then they raised the rates and now we're way under them, right? With Trucker CFO, we're going to, if you're an S corp, you're going to pay a little bit less than you're paying ATBS. Uh but for what we believe is way better service. I mean, let's just be real right now. And if you're a sole prop guy, a sole proprietor, for those of you not in the know, don't know the slang and the lingo, sole prop, just as you know, standard guy just starting out on a lease type deal, uh, you're gonna pay, you know, like a buck or something more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just is what it is. But again, you're gonna look at the quality of the service. Quality of the service is something that we're really big on right now. You know, if it costs you slightly more, but you get that much better service, then man, I just think that's the way to go. You can't
Well,
bottom dollar everything.
you know, part of their standard thing is once a month, your business advisor will go over your profit and loss statements with you.
Right.
So all you guys, how do I track my numbers? And Charlie and I are like, this is one of those things where Charlie and I are like, well, you just track your numbers, man. What do you mean? How do you track your numbers? First of all, we have to define what you mean.
Right.
So, you know, it's one of those things that when you know how to do it, it's kind of hard to explain, I guess.
Right.
So Trucker CFO, you can ask them, can you go over my P&L with me? And
You'll
they'll be
have a
like, sure.
guy or
And
gal
your guy or gal will say, sure, when do you have time? We'll set up an appointment and we will talk on the phone, and they'll make sure that you know how to get
every
into the
month.
website and look at it every single month. You know, one of the things is because of some issues that I've discussed before, and I don't want to, you know, Charlie and I talked about, we don't want to burn bridges here. It's just that we found a service that we think would serve us and you guys better.
Right.
Um, I had no idea right now what my true numbers are because my P&L's been screwed up for the last year since I went S corp. And I talked to Colton about that, and he's like, "We're going to fix that. We're going to make sure you have a handle on your numbers again."
Right.
Because I'm not used to that, Charlie. You remember when you and I
For
first
real.
met? What was I doing that night?
Right.
I was going over my P&Ls and going, "So Charlie, check this out. Last year I did this, and this is
Yep.
what I did this year."
And it was
And
fun.
Charlie's
We
just
dug
like,
it.
"Holy crap, dude!"
Right. It was fun. I dig learning stuff. So Jeff was putting down the education on me, and I dug it. It was fun. There was something else here. Oh, Tennessee's still in a loner.
Sucks, man.
And Trucker Dan said he's already been coached for two different things. Coaching, not
Shouldn't be
coaching.
getting coached.
Just saying.
Coaching, not
And
coaching.
Andrew, is there a deposit to start the policy of Seabright? There is not.
Nope.
You're going to be billed on a monthly basis. It's going to happen after you start the policy.
Oh,
Oh,
this
go ahead.
is another thing about Trucker CFO though, guys. Remember with the insurance, we told you it's time to put your big boy pants on.
Oh, right.
You're
Payment.
gonna you're gonna have to pay them every week. They Trucker CFO, they set it up on direct deposit,
Right.
direct draw with your bank account. So it comes out every Friday.
Right.
You gotta make sure you got that money in there. I mean, you know, we're talking about accountants here. They are not going to tolerate
Right.
late payments on that. So, you know, it's another one of the things though, you know, own your business. You know, we're trying to move away from relying so much on Papa Swift. And for those of you that don't understand why, there's things, there's reasons for it. We want to be as independent as we can while still benefiting from the freight base that Swift offers.
Right.
And so
And
when
Swift
something,
themselves are not opposed to this. They
no,
actually are encouraging us.
whenever we talk to him, like even with like the insurance and Trucker CFO has met with Brett, but he kind of got that. Yeah, we understand, but we're not promoting you. We're with
Right.
ATBS, and they're not going to promote these things, guys. But from the highest levels of the company, what they keep telling us is, you guys promote what you want. God bless you. If it's better for your business and your members' businesses, great. But they're going to continue to promote what they promote, and you guys can make your own guesses as to why that would be. They're in business. They're in business, man. So that's why we're trying to get rid of Papa Swift as much as we can. I was just talking to an owner the other day that's one of those gets a new truck every 4 years. And I said,
Right.
you know how many miles I got on that beast right there? He's like, probably a lot more than me. I said, yep, 870 this week. I just turned 870,000 miles old this week. And according to my oil samples, it's looking like almost 1.5 before I'm going to need to rebuild the motor, which is going to cost me probably by then about 40 or 50 grand.
Right.
Which is a whole lot less than the 200,000 you're going to spend on that truck.
Right.
It's a matter of perspective,
And balance.
and balance. We want to get to the point to where, let's say that your water pump goes out,
Right.
and you can just stroke a check for that.
And
Don't
hopefully
worry,
not have your oil pan crushed by the tow truck.
Right, causing a big insurance kerfuckle.
Oh my God.
That's where we want everybody
word.
to be, is the ability to take care of your business by yourself.
Right. Create
Because
separation.
It's a much better place to be. I can tell you that when I stroke a check for maintenance, I feel a little bit of, I did that.
Right.
Now, I'm not relying on anybody else. It's my business.
There's an added bonus to that. You're actually paying attention more to those things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's legit, Oh, Mike said my last full 4-year lease, I put 880,000 miles in 4 years. Training is awesome on trucks, no doubt. You are a dedicated man, sir, and power to you.
Slave driver, that guy.
Right? He's out there killing it. But good on you. I mean, good Lord. That is some miles, sir. I don't want to work that hard anymore. I'm not going to lie.
I think the most I put on a truck was my Kenworth at 790.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was when I was training.
We did what?
4 years.
1.3 is what we ended up putting on Chewy.
I'm talking about in a 4-year lease.
Oh, whatever. That's too much work, yo.
That was back in the day when if you weren't teaming with a student, they fired you as a mentor. So
right. Right.
Why ain't you teaming? Because he's not ready. I don't care.
Right. Oh my God.
Those were the days.
Scary days.
Those were the days where Charlie said, "Up yours, I'm done."
Right. Mr. Scott Barker, just throwing it out there. Oh man, but hey, if you guys got any questions, by all means, throw them up. Like every week, we don't have a set schedule for what we're doing this week. We're, like I said, we've got a bunch of stuff we've been working on for the conference for next week. So yeah, we've been doing that stuff and working on the CFO stuff. And
the other thing I learned today in my meeting was, did you know that this year tax day is actually April 18th, not the 15th?
Right.
And the reason is because the 15th is on a Saturday.
There you go.
And the following Monday is a federal holiday. So it got pushed out to Tuesday, the 18th this year.
Nice.
So you got an extra couple days to sweat.
Right. Trigger Dan said he just turned 24,000 miles on his Volvo, and when he got his Volvo, it was at 2,100 miles on. I think we just turned 93,000. We picked ours up with 28 miles on it in July 7th of 22. So we're not doing horrible.
You'll never forget when I picked up the T2000, Charlie.
Right.
It had 9 miles on the odometer.
That's amazing. I wonder if it's actually possible. It's probably not possible to get a 0, is it?
No, because they got to at least drive it through the yard.
Right. Back in the day, it was the wild west of trucking. Day one team running was horrible. Dude, so I did that with my mentor, right? Like, he was like, hey, I'm going to tell you things and stuff. And he was not great. He was actually, I had no intention of ever being a mentor at the time. I'm like, why would I do that? And then I got in this guy's truck and he showed me how bad the program was. And I'm like, I can help change that. I don't know what's wrong with my brain, but that's what I thought immediately. I could do better than that. Okay, funny side story. So, like day one, this guy starts telling me what it's like to be in the military and what it's like the military life, right? And
Told you.
oh yeah, he's telling me. He's like breaking it down. I'm like, so when did you serve? He's like, oh, I didn't. Um, but I got friends. I'm like, oh, that's cool, right? And I just let him keep digging a hole. This guy was digging some crazy holes that were like, he's like, here's a gopher, here's a gopher. This guy was just all over the place. And then I said, oh yeah, by the way, I'm a retired paratrooper out of the 118th MP Company Airborne out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And he stopped talking about Army stuff.
Good for him.
Go figure. And then he started asking questions, which is funny. And then he said, well, what's your he's like, we've got this load going, we're gonna have to go run Donner. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, why don't you let me drive out of the yard here? I think it was Lathrop, right? I had to take a bus stop from Troutdale down to Lathrop, meet him. And got on the truck and I said, why don't you let me take the truck out of here and I'll let you see what I can do, right? I wasn't totally full of myself, but I was pretty confident I could run a truck. I'd come from FFE, a couple years before, and so I was like, hey, no time like the present, right? Let's just get it out there. And we started teaming that very day. Like I ran Donner, ice, snow, didn't have to chain, but got over the hill, got down the hill. He's like, all right, we're good, we're going, and we just ran. The one thing that guy did absolutely teach me though was how to chain, and I have never lost a set of chains chained the way the guy taught me. Not a single set. I've worn them out. I've worn through them and still had them attached. Ching, 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 ching. Broken links, right? But I still haven't lost a set of chains. It's crazy.
Yeah, you know what I did this week, Charlie? Speaking of
What did you
chains.
did? Uh-oh.
So I got through Wyoming okay on my way home. Big old sign at the border of Utah that said chains required on Charley's Pass.
Right.
So you know what I did? I went through Ogden. I did the
You went a
lowlands through
different route.
Ogden. And
hey, what'd that rest area look like?
Dude, there was people that like the rest area before you start the upward slope to Charley's Pass up there had to be at least a half a mile of trucks on the freeway just sitting there waiting for that chain lot to open. And I was sitting there thinking, should I just go through and tell people there's another way? Nah, screw them. They don't know. Seriously, it added 20 miles to my trip, man. And yeah, right. It was snowy and it was kind of dangerous, not for the weak-hearted, but still better than chaining up.
Jeff, did that 20 miles kill your bottom line this week?
No, they paid me for it actually.
Look at that. What you mean? You mean you called in and negotiated getting that alternative route?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just crazy talk. Sorry, I'm being facetious, y'all. A lot of people, wouldn't even have thought of it.
I bet it probably helped that I had a lot of kegs from Coors. So, alcohol is kind of a priority for most folks.
Right. You got to get them kegs rolling, rolling kegs. Just saying. But yeah, Matt got his truck with 3 miles on it in his Cascadia. That's pretty impressive.
That dude's always trying to beat me.
Dude,
he's always trying to beat me. He's got to be top dog on everything, that guy.
And you know what? That's the Army brain to fix stuff. You know what? Look, that's like a true thing. Although it's not just the Army brain. I've kind of been like that most of my life, honestly, because my mom is an amazing person to me in my life. Single mom raised me and my sister, and Lord, that woman's got to be a saint. Let's just be real. But she was, not a lot of money back in the day, right? And she was look, there was this time when she was trying to get food stamps back in the 70s, and they told her she did not qualify for food stamps because she owned a car. It was a Barracuda that she had, and her income was too close, and something about her owning the car was a problem, right? Mind you, her drive shaft for that Barracuda was in the living room on the floor. She was trying to figure out how to press the U joints out of the drive shaft herself because she couldn't afford to have someone do it, right? And which she did ultimately do. I don't know how the hell she did it, but she did figure out how to press those U joints out of her own drive shaft and put new ones in and get that Barracuda running again, and went out, got a job, got squared away, took care of the family, and never got the food stamps because of whatever it was, right? And so mom has always been like, look, you break something, figure out how to fix it. If you see something wrong, do what you need to do to try and make things better. Why wait for others to make it better? Jump in there. Let's start finding solutions to things. And that was kind of instilled in me very, very young. I mean, my first skateboard, you should have seen my first skateboard. It was oh my God. Like, couldn't afford to buy a new one, right? It was a skateboard someone actually gave me, a friend gave me back in the day. And it was kind of worn out back in the day. And I snapped that thing in half. I was on a ramp one day and I snapped, I mean, just boom, snapped it. I was bummed. I was back to feet for transportation around LA, right? And didn't have a bike because couldn't afford a bike. So what did I do? I found this little steel square bar. It was about the length of the skateboard. It would fit right between the trucks. I created some goofy little U-type nail type of deals, right? Because I didn't have cool staples, and bolted it to the top. And my skateboard did this when I skated on it. But do you know that I rode that skateboard for about another 6 months, and mom saved up some money and bought me a brand new Dogtown skateboard back in the day.
Nice.
Because I had taken care of it and fixed that thing, even though it was, I mean, it was a piece of trash at that. It was. But then I quit skating ramps for a while, that's for sure, because that thing wasn't getting on a ramp. But it still got me around where I needed to go, and because of that, she was like, you know what, you've been doing what you got to do, and here's a new skateboard, and it was pretty awesome. It was pretty impressive to me. Anyhow, sorry about that. Story time. I apologize. So Matt Nissen said, I negotiated with my people about my empty miles on this load from Phoenix to Vegas. 301 miles now paid as loaded. There you go. 301 empty, 770 loaded. Now all 1071 loaded miles. Matt, good on you, sir.
Yep.
That, and look, it doesn't hurt to ask. Don't call and be a jerk when you ask, but call and ask. Say, look, that's a lot of empty miles. Is there something we can do on that? Is there a little extra on the load? Maybe you can throw my way, and
yeah, a lot of times, we used to do this more, Charlie, but we used to actually call up and say, hey, I get that it's paying this, but is there anything more in the load that you could kick down to me?
Right.
A lot of times it was maybe $100, but an extra $100 is an extra $100.
Right.
Dorian Thompson wants to know what health insurance is available for a tax write-off. If you're talking about tax write-off and not a tax credit, all health insurance is available for a tax write-off. That's a business expense.
See, I write that off. Answer that question personally.
You write that off on your taxes.
You know what I would say?
Talk to Colton.
I would say talk to your CFO, your tax guy, your bookkeeper.
Yeah, but that's basic business 101, though.
I know. I'm just throwing it out there because Kevin Ulrich.
Contact for that. Which
that are you talking about? Are you talking about the CFO thing? Are you talking about? Hey, we haven't talked about insurance a whole lot.
Yeah.
So you could be asking quite a few. Oh, empty mile tomorrow and 270 loaded. Talk to your OOC. That's a good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. He has 180 empty miles tomorrow for 270 loaded. I would absolutely talk to my OOC.
Now, here's the thing that we've learned recently, though. Actually, we probably already knew. It's just it was reinforced recently. You got to do these negotiations before you do your empty call. They're not going to negotiate on work you already did. You already did it, and you agreed to it. So if there's any negotiating room in a load at all, you got to do it as soon as you can. Don't wait till the end of the load. Like if you're doing this tomorrow, today would be a good time to talk to your OC about it.
Right.
Say, hey, this kind of crap, it's a third empty, and we don't get paid surcharge on empty miles. Is there is there more money in the load than that? Can we kick something down?
No, this
Can
thing
we
more than
convert
half
those to
empty.
loaded? Yeah, it is.
So I would definitely ask about it. I mean, it doesn't hurt. Look, you already committed to it, right? Let's just be real about that. And there's nothing wrong with doing what you got to do. I mean, it sucks sometimes. It absolutely sucks. But sometimes a little something is better than a whole lot of nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you can say, hey, I committed to this load because, it needed to be committed to, right? Is there anything extra in this load? Can we work out some of these empty miles? I mean, I'm willing to do the load, but, it's going to cost me X amount of dollars, right, to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's something extra in there. Could you help me out? And, they're going to say, hey, let me find out, or sure, we can, or no, right? You're going to run the load anyhow, probably. I mean, let's just be real. I would probably run it even if they said no. If I committed to it, I'm just going to do it. The reason I committed to it was there was a reason I committed to it to start with. So you just got to move on and try and get it squared away.
So as Kevin Ork also says, I had to take it to make it to
There you
drill
go.
weekend, or I was going to sit in Ohio. So I have a question for you, Kevin, as a former admin NCO for a National Guard unit. Have you considered making a deal to suit at that time? But for those that don't know, what that means is you do an alternate drill, so you get credit for the time without having to go to the actual drill weekend itself. We had a couple of OTR truck drivers in our unit. We did that for them all the time. The only thing they were required to do was annual training.
Right.
Nobody got out of annual training unless it was a family emergency. But in our situation where we're having to go out and make money, we made that deal with guys all the time when I was the admin NCO for a unit. We just say, okay, so when can you make it in? It's got to be within 90 days of the actual drill date.
Be right back.
But for you to make it up, but we can help you make it up. So if you get yourself into some of these situations as a guardsman, it's been what 20 years since I was in that position, so I don't know if the regulations may have changed, but I can't see why they would have. The guard has some pretty good leeway with a lot of that stuff. Let's see. So Matt Nissen's reiterating what we said. I talked to my DL and do the negotiations. That's a good place to start. Sometimes the planners themselves, like they'll send me this kind of BS load, and I won't reject it and I won't counter it. What I'll do is I'll send them a direct message, because usually their direct message code is on the pre-plan. And I'll say, hey man, if you need this done, that's fine, but this is not a moneymaker for me. Is there anything else that you can kick back to me? And you can almost feel the eye roll, those owner operators, those guys. But hey, if you really need it done and you're willing to pay me a little extra to do it, then I'll do it. Otherwise, what else you got? And on those instances, we're talking about those under 200-mile loads usually. And sometimes it's not money that I get out of it. Sometimes it's a stack. So I do their little BS 150, 200-mile load, and they back it up with a 1,500-mile load to get me out of their dang planning area because they don't want to deal with me. But it's not always about the money for that load, guys. You can negotiate. Hey, I'll do this little thing that you need done, but I need to see a stack. Don't say we'll get you something. I'm not accepting that, right?
Right.
Because we've been down that road before, haven't we, Charlie?
No doubt.
No, I want to see the stack, and I will say yes to the stack. And a lot of times you'll get a stack, because especially if it's something they really need done and it doesn't have extra money in it, they'll throw you a cookie one way or the other.
Right. You already put that one up. Sorry.
get with my RNCO this week and definitely find out, because that would be better for my business. Absolutely, Kevin. I mean, like I said, we had two. One worked for Warner, and I can't remember who the other guy worked for, but they were OTR guys, and we did that for them all the time. It was just understood that, look, man, you're going to AT. If we have to come get you, you're going to AT.
Mm-hmm.
that was the deal breaker.
But that might get you a little flexibility, and look,
Right.
flexibility is what you need, and I mean, hey,
Yeah, absolutely. Besides, man, who doesn't want to go to AT, right? I
right?
mean, that was. I
I
used to
wish I
enjoy
was able to
those.
get in the guard. That would have been
I
fun.
used to really enjoy those. We did one that was actually 3 weeks in Hawaii one time. That was great.
You know, if I had gotten into the guard, coming from my MOS, coming from the unit I came from, everybody that I knew that got into the guard after getting out got at least one promotion. At least, I mean, at bare minimum. And some of them got two. And one of them was, look, we had this dirt bag. Okay. He was a complete useless soul on the planet in our unit at the mighty 118th MP company. And when he left our unit, he got out. He was put out on a chapter. Those of you who know what I'm talking about can understand. Failure to do PT, failure to maintain weight, things like that, right? Anyhow, he got out on a chapter early from his 5-year enlistment, went home to his local National Guard unit. He got out as an E3, went to his guard unit, and they made him an E5. They made him a private first class to sergeant in a single jump. And then that guy, a couple months after he left, was down on Fort Bragg doing his annual training. And he thought it would be a good idea to show up at his old unit that he was not very well liked, let's just say, to show off his new chevrons. He was quickly run out of that unit at a quick pace. The man was trotting. People were racing after him. Just going to say that. I know it's weird. So you prior service guys will know, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Those of you who don't understand, I apologize. A little insider stuff there on the old Army stuff. Can't help it. Weird talk. But if you guys got anything else, please throw it up. By the way, the phone lines are still open in case you want to call. And by the way, those of you who have not made that swap over to Seabright, I'm going to throw up some contact information across the bottom for you there, because we haven't done that yet. There's the button right there. There you go. And we wanted to actually extend this out further. We've realized that quite a few people who are not Swift contractors have reached out to Tony and his people over at Seabright. And we found out something very cool. Like our brother, sister truckers over at Night are signing up with Seabright. They're mentioning Contractors Corner, and they're getting a marvelous rate. They are saving hundreds of dollars by making a switch from their current carrier insurance offering to Seabright. And the savings have been pretty phenomenal. I'm not going to throw out numbers, but from what I was told, those numbers are amazing for you folks over at Night. So by all means, please give them a call.
Yeah, it's not the Swift contractor deal,
Right.
but you know, they
It's
are
pretty
an
darn
insurance
close.
company. They're an insurance company. They compete with other insurance companies. Give them a chance for your business, man. See, you know, even if you're not with Swift Night family at all, you know, check them out. You know, we realize that we're starting to get some viewers and things that are outside of our little community here. A lot of the stuff we talk about, like even the fuel surcharge, Charley and I were talking about this the other day. We focus on the fuel surcharge for Swift because that's who we're running our trucks with. If you're leased to Knight, if you're leased to JB Hunt, if you're leased to England, whoever it is, somewhere in your contract is that contracted surcharge rate.
Right.
You know, if you're leased to like a Landstar where you're on a percentage type deal, they have a totally different thing with surcharge. That is nothing like what we deal with.
Right.
But check out what your surcharge is in your contract. I believe at Landstar is they just pass through whatever surcharge they collect from their shippers, which sometimes they don't get any at all.
Right.
Sometimes they get a great one, but they
It's funny
will
'cause
pass through whatever they get.
you talk to some of the BCO guys, right? And they're like, "Man, I get a surcharge on every load." You got other guys that are like, "Surcharge, what's that?"
Yeah, but they're taking percentage of the line haul,
Right.
and plus whatever surcharge Landstar collects.
Right.
And even at Swift, we would love to. They'll never show us this, Charlie. But we
Right.
were
Right.
talking about the other. We would love to see what the surcharge is that Swift collects, because we know that they don't collect fuel surcharge on all the loads.
Right.
Fuel surcharge, we haven't talked about this in a while, Charlie, so it's probably a good thing to go back over. Fuel surcharge is more of a contract freight thing, right?
Right.
These long-term contracts of 6 months or more, they'll negotiate in a fuel surcharge because they're trying to lock in a rate, but then, fuel fluctuates. So they try to get a fuel surcharge on contract freight. A lot of times in the spot market, there is no fuel surcharge.
Right.
You're just negotiating a rate. All in for that load. So Swift has a lot of contract freight, and they have a lot of stuff that's one-off, not contract freight.
Right.
So, like when you're running a Walmart load, there's definitely some surcharge they're collecting on that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
contract freight. We get what our contract says it is, but let me think of one. I can't
How
even.
about a logistic load that they
Oh,
brought over?
a logistics load they brought over that probably doesn't have a surcharge attached to it. So they're going to pay us our 47.5 cents this week, even though they didn't collect anything at all because it's in
Right.
our contract.
Yeah. We get surcharge on every single load, every loaded dispatch mile.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing. Like, I mean, look, I have only seen one better, and I can't remember who the company was. I've seen one better fuel surcharge program than Swift, and it was a smaller company, and they were pretty amazing. I wish I could remember who it was. I'm gonna hurt my brain trying to think. I may come to me later. That's usually what happens, and if it does, I'll tell you who it is. I just can't remember who it was. But I have yet to find a better fuel surcharge program. I mean, because I ask people all the time. I mean, and we have quite a few people who are, lots of companies that watch the show and that we talk to in Facebook and all these other places. And, so we start comparing notes, right? I mean, because that's what we're trying to do is get all the information we can get, right? Because let's be real, Jeff and I are always looking at other options.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a good business decision. You should be looking at other things, and just about every time so far, it's landed me to stay where I'm at. Rosie and I almost went to Mercer at one point, and I'm actually glad we didn't because I would have been put out of trucking doing that work. I'm not going to lie, because we were going to go flatbed. Well, step deck is what we were actually going to do, and it would have destroyed me with the problems that I had last year, and building up to last year would have absolutely destroyed me, put me out of trucking completely because of the way my neck and stuff was acting last year. So I mean, I'm glad I didn't make this decision, but I got close. I mean, we got super like we were within a week of pulling that trigger, and that's just real. So I mean, you got to be looking, but go into it not with your emotion driving you, right? It wasn't Central. Central had a pretty good one for certain contractors on guys that were locked in on an old contract, but it wasn't them. But you gotta not be emotional if you're gonna make that decision, right? And get as much information as you can.
So Dorian Thompson, he says, I don't know much about insurance. Darian,
name
okay.
destroyer.
I have a friend named Dorian. That's why that came out. Anyway. Okay, I don't know much about insurance. Looking into it before I start April 28th. Okay, so my official advice on this is to get with Trucker CFO and get some solid advice on that. What I can tell you is any expense to the business, and this includes your health benefits, he's probably going to advise you to be a sole proprietor when you first start out, because there's certain levels of income you need to make before you start looking at other things. Anything that you're spending as far as insurance goes, and that's your truck insurance, your health insurance, Aflac if you want Aflac, okay,
Black.
is all tax deductible because it's a business expense. So anything that's an expense, anything that's not coming to you in the form of income, is not taxed, basically. And Trucker CFO, man, the dude's got the heart of a teacher, I can tell you that. And so do his people. They'll go through all of that with you. I can tell you that my first go-to with new owners is, first of all, look into Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act stuff. Why? Because what you're going to find is, talk to Trucker CFO and he'll tell you, by the time you deduct everything that you could deduct, and by the time you get down to what your taxable income is, the government thinks you're poor, dude.
Right. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Just per diem alone drops me a full tax bracket every year. So therefore, the government thinks I'm poor because of all the per diem that I can claim. So, your benefits that you qualify for through the government in America is dependent on taxable income. So you got to get down to that taxable income to see what you qualify for. So like for me and my family, our tax situation, I've got a large family, as a lot of you guys know, so I got a mess of kids. 3 of them are still living at the house. So I get that.
73 kids.
Yeah, 20 wives, all that, but I'm a card carrying Native American. If you have a minority status like that, I'm not big on playing that card.
How? Wait, never mind.
Why?
That was bad. I apologize.
I'm not big on playing the minority card, but you know what? When money's involved and there's a program that your taxes are paid for anyway, why not?
Right.
Anything you could do. I do things that if you were to talk to me 10 years ago, I voted against. But hey, the program exists, so what the hell?
Right. And if we're talking truck insurance, Darian, and you're just starting a brand new lease around the 28th, you can actually start that lease with Seabright Insurance, having never had to have a mandatory camera installed, having never paid Swift's insurance carrier a penny.
Although he might have to pay $100 to have the smart drive removed.
Right. If there's a camera already in the truck that you're picking up, you may have to pay the $100 to have it removed. But
like we said, we said for over a year, since the lease trucks were coming out with smart drive in them,
right?
That's the best $100 that you will spend all year, is to get rid of that camera.
Right. So Crypto Izzy. Hello, guys. I've seen the def additives on your description. Can you explain more about that? Explain more about it. Thanks. It's not a def additive.
It's a fuel additive.
It's actually, it's going into your fuel. And basically what it does is it breaks down the fuel to a better, well, it does. It helps it burn better.
It's a catalyst.
Yeah, that's a better word.
It's a true catalyst. And it causes your fuel to burn cleaner. It burns a higher percentage of the fuel, so you don't get as much soot in your system. And what some of us are seeing a fuel mileage increase, some aren't. I can tell you that for Charlie and I, we did not see a fuel mileage increase until we started overdosing slightly. But you got to be careful with that because the stuff is really potent.
Yeah.
So you don't want to like double the dose. But just a little bit more than recommended, and I saw a 3.3 increase in my fuel mileage measurable. Right. But what it absolutely does is it keeps your after treatment stuff clean.
Right.
Like your DPF, your your SCR system, which is the diesel exhaust fluid, all of that. It keeps it cleaner because it's not having to work to get those particulates out of your exhaust because
Right.
they aren't there.
Which extends the life of your DPF, extends the life of the entire system, your motor included, because you're getting a cleaner burn, less soot.
Bruce Mallison just took a DPF off of a truck here at Pittsburgh Power. When did I post that, Charlie? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
It took it off for its first cleaning, and they've been using the max mileage in it the whole time, and the thing looked like it didn't need to be cleaned. I mean, it looked about the same as mine did after it was cleaned.
Right.
And this is 300,000 miles of using the max mileage in it. So that's what it does for you. Don't get sticker shock when you buy it. It's $225 a gallon. If you buy it directly from Pittsburgh Power and put it on subscription, which I recommend you do because that's the cheapest way to get it. But it's only 1 ounce per 25 gallons of fuel. That's how much you dose in it. And I go through a bottle about every 2.5 months. So it's not, Charlie, what was your cost analysis on that per mile?
0.007 cents per mile.
So that's what it costs per mile. And what does a new DPF cost?
A lot.
Like $3,500 plus labor.
Some ridiculous thing like that.
If you need an entire one box, which is the whole system, you're looking at, depending on the day, between $14,000 and $18,000 for that. So I would rather just use the max mileage, get a little bit better fuel mileage, and have that thing last forever.
Right.
And when you do get to 350,000 miles, which is the first recommended clean, you're going to want to take it to DPF alternatives to get it cleaned, your DPF cleaned, because if you have them clean it and you are using the max mileage, you get a lifetime warranty on that after treatment system. Lifetime. So that's the maintenance cycle that we recommend is use the max mileage, have DPF alternatives clean your system at about 300,000 miles, grab that warranty. Yeah, there it is.
You like that? I was doing things in the background. So that's what this DPF looked like when they pulled it out, having not cleaned it yet.
Right. And mine, when I had them pull mine, it was about 250,000 miles after the last cleaning, and it was black. So yeah, this stuff actually works. What?
I thought I had commented with a picture in that thread, but it wasn't in that thread. Dang it. Because I had pictures of your DPF, what it looked like when it first came out. And there was a huge difference. I mean, Jeff's was black. Yep. Like straight up black. It was gnarly. And when it was all done, it was amazing looking. Like it was clean. It was cool. But that was through DPF alternatives. So I mean, it was a thing. It was a definite thing. And see if I can find the picture where yours was done. I don't know. Oh, that's a deal.
That's a video of them doing the actual clean.
Right. Sorry, bear with me here, folks.
I know it used to be up there in the stickies.
Right.
Or whatever.
Oh, look, there's Jeff's.
Yep, that's what mine looked like when they took it off.
That's what it looked like when it came out. So you can see the difference of what the engine or what the DPF looked like from someone using max mileage to someone not using max mileage. Jeff has since started using max mileage because it's part of the warranty program now through DPF alternatives. And I mean, so that was the dirty one. There is the clean one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the guy that used max mileage from the time he picked up the truck was somewhere in between.
Right.
So
I mean, it's an amazing thing. And then Bruce had made mention that I believe they broke an engine apart after someone had been using max mileage for quite some time, and the interior of the motor looked spotless.
Mm-hmm.
There was just no soot buildup. It's just burning so much better. So, but again, $225 a gallon. You're like, holy crap. Who the hell wants to pay that? But the reality was 0.007 cents per mile. We're getting about 30,000-ish miles out of a gallon of max mileage. You can get that right there at PittsburghPower.com. That's where you set up a subscription. I would recommend if 30,000 miles, depending on how you're running, figure out when you're making that amount of mileage in your operation.
How many gallons do you have sitting at your house right now because you put it on monthly and forgot to cancel it?
I have 3 gallons sitting in my room right over there, right behind my monitors.
Yeah, we thought we were going to go through a gallon a month. That was just, okay, yeah, a gallon a month. That's not too bad. And then
I thought $225 a month wasn't bad, honestly. I didn't realize it was so much less than that.
Yeah.
So it's a thing, and I started it like 17,000 miles. I think is when I started using it on the new truck. So I'm pretty confident my motor is going to do pretty well, and I expect my DPF to look pretty darn good, considering when I do go hit DPF Alternatives. And you know what? DPF Alternatives, another good company that we like right there. I'm going to put them across the bottom, DPF Alternatives. And they do the 1-boxes and the DPF cleanings and all that stuff. You can go to dpfalternatives.com. So, yeah, pretty awesome. We like these guys. Maybe someday they'll pay us for advertising.
Hopefully.
That'd be awesome. But they don't right now. So there you go. If you want to call in, like I said, the phone lines are open. Our poor Google Assistant lady is not hearing anything at all. That's cool. 813-LIVE-SEC. That's 813-548-3722. I had that screen open. If you call right now, I can see you calling. We'll be like, hey, what's up, buddy? But if you don't want to talk, that's cool too. Yeah. Oh, Lord.
You're going to say it, aren't you?
I am. Jack me off like Stevens. Hit the like button, slackers. I dig it. Thank you, sir. Yep. Gonna let that sit there for a minute. Can't help it. It's comical. I apologize.
Yeah, we probably ought to be promoting that like button a little more.
Yeah, we try to do that thing, but it's Christopher Davis, first time catching us live. Well, that's awesome. We're glad you're here. Glad you can make it. I know we got quite a few replay rangers out there, as folks call them, and we dig you guys seriously. We do have quite a few people now that are watching the channel that aren't Swift contractors, and I don't know what your status is, but we're glad that you're here. Thank you for being here and spending time with us. It does mean a great deal to us. So thank you. Good to see you. And Crypto Izzy said, thanks, guys. There you go. So I don't want to make it sound like we're doing an ad for these guys. I mean, the products that we do talk about, we love and believe in these products. Let's just be clear about this. Unless you're going to pay me $1 million. If you pay me $1 million, I will say, these people want you to use their product, and they paid me $1 million to say that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you right now, that's my magic number. If I don't believe in your product, it's going to take you $1 million to get me to even mention you.
Yep.
Throwing it out there. Jeff's probably going to be like, kick me, because he's like, dude, we could get 900,000. I'd be like, nope, not $1 million.
My price is actually higher than that, Charlie, because I need about $5 billion to retire on.
Well, there you go. So that tells you what's going on.
I'd rather make money on legitimate things than to sell out.
And look, Craig, like that's a legitimate thing. I wish I had tried it in Chewy before I retired Chewy, because Chewy was a loud beast. Let's just be real. 1.7 million miles on it. That's a loud rattle bucket. I'm just going to throw it out there. But Craig said, love the way max mileage makes my truck run so much quieter. Hey, you know what? This is not a bad statement. All tractors should have motorcycle lifts on the catwalk. I won't argue with you there, but I'm not allowed on a motorcycle because Rosie will not allow me on a motorcycle. Last time I was on a motorcycle, July 11th, 1993, at about 1700 in the afternoon in North Carolina.
Bad day.
Bad day. So yeah, um, I wish I could ride. I wish my wife would let me ride, but we have a deal where she doesn't want me to ride, so I don't ride since that day. It's a sad. The day she says I can, though, woo-hoo, watch out, y'all. I will be on two wheels cruising down the highway, doing some things. And yeah, so I mean, I get it. Oh Lord, strap the wife to the catwalk. You kidding? Then I'd have to drive nights. She's my night driver. You crazy? I ain't doing it. I dig it. I love having her on the truck, man. Can't help it. And she drives nights. Good God, I got it made. And she only calls HR on me, once a week,
Yeah. Well,
complaining about me touching her or making inappropriate statements or something. And then, oh, guess who HR is? That's me. And I'm like, shut up and drive. Take off your shirt. What? No, that would be inappropriate in the job place. I apologize. Take off your shirt. What?
hostile work environment.
Hostile. She's gonna sue me one day, and she would win. Let's just be real. She would absolutely. Oh, look at this. Matt said I can ride bitch on his bike. I appreciate you putting up the stars, brother. I'll say the word. It's okay. I am not getting on. You know what? I might get on the back of a bike with you because we would look hilarious, bro.
Oh,
Wait,
but
wait, wait.
he's got a condition.
Can it be a mankini? Hmm. Neon green helps bring out my eyes.
Little banana hammock there.
Oh yeah. So
Okay, I'm getting looks. I'm getting looks from the controller over there.
Oh,
So
the
we got to stop.
comptroller is getting upset. You better stop it, Jeff. So Christopher Davis' wife and I are company team drivers. Look, man, that I'm going to tell you right now, you are in a prime situation because all that money goes into one bank account, and that's what Rosie and I do, and that's what Mark Torres and his wife Darlene do. Um, it's a good way to make a really good living when it's all going in the same bank account. Um, quiet down, Sean. I was just going to mention you too. And Sean and his wife are running teams out there, and it's a good way to do it. There is a lot of money to be made in team expedited freight when the market is really great. It's you're
Martin's
turning
great
down
right
loads
now.
left and right. I mean, let's just be real. You're like, that's just too much. Doing
Yeah,
six,
we
seven
have
thousand
to.
miles a week.
We can't get away from the elephant in the room, Charlie. That freight's still pretty down right
It
now, though.
sucks, right?
But when you're driving husband and wife team or whatever, and you're real partners in the business, that is the probably most profitable way to do it, I would say.
Right.
You're paying yourselves a reasonable wage, you're taking advantage of all this stuff, and it's all going into the same bank account. You
Right.
guys will do really well.
And look, I'm telling you, if you've got your home finances in check and you're not living life this crazy luxury life. I mean, look, we all want to get there sometime, right? But let's be real. You're starting a business, so keep your personal finances in check, right? Do you need a $90,000 pickup truck, Sean? What? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Try to keep things moderate, right? And you and your wife as a team can make pretty amazing money.
Mm-hmm.
And when things turn around and get better, uh, you will make more money than you realize you thought you could.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rosie and I just don't want to work that hard. I mean, we could easily go out there and do, 5,000 miles a week when times are normal, 6,000 miles a week. I knew a team that ran 7,000 religiously, and those two went out and did amazing things, started their own trucking company. I mean, the last I heard, they had like 15 trucks buying Western Stars,
Because
running
they
at
wanted
FedEx.
them.
Yeah, because they wanted them. And we're paying cash for trucks. I mean, God bless them, right? And they started Swift as team drivers, contracting, and paid off a truck, and they were working 7,000 miles a week on the regular. I mean, they were killing it. They were a hardworking team. I do not want to work that hard. Never have wanted to work that hard. It's not that I'm afraid of hard work. Don't get me wrong, But I had a paid for truck at the time, and I'm like, don't want to do that much. And now it is what it is. I got a truck payment again, so we got to work a little harder than we did before to make what it is that we want to make, which is not as much as most people. I'm just going to be real about that. Rosie and I try to keep things a little more in check. Every now and then things will get out of hand, and we'll buy something maybe we shouldn't have just because we wanted to. That's real. It's a thing.
I mean,
Look at
and
Bear Hunter.
and,
Stop it.
and,
Yes.
and we give Sean a lot of stuff, but we were talking with Sean the other day, and Charlie and I were talking about Sean the other day because we do stuff like that. And Charlie brought up the fact, well, but to be fair, I spend $300 a week on cigars.
Right.
And you remember what my response to that was, Charlie? I said, no, you get to buy $300 worth of cigars because you don't have that truck payment. We all make choices. Sean wants his truck. He's got to pay for that truck. Charlie wants his cigars. He's got to pay for those cigars. You make sacrifices here to do the thing over there that you want.
Right.
I have this really expensive adolescent hobby of mine where I paint little army dudes and play games and stuff that cost quite a bit of money. I don't buy cigars, and I don't have a car payment. I have my hobby. We all make those choices, and the thing is, the part of this whole being in business thing is you get to make those choices.
Right.
So that's where we want everybody to be. If you want that $90,000 pickup, you should go get that $90,000 pickup. If you want $300 worth of cigars, go buy $300 worth of cigars.
Right.
We want everybody to be able to do that. That's the point. Is that enough soapbox?
I dug it, man. I think it was appropriate and adequate. Mike Henderson said 24 years of trucking. My wife has never even climbed into a truck. Hey, that's cool. Look, Rosie was not with this to start with, right? I was done. I mean, I was like, hey, she was not happy at the place. She was working at a hotel at the time, and making her hourly wage there. And I said, if you came out trucking with me and got a CDL and that sort of thing, you could make a lot more money than what you make now. And I made a deal with her. You will never have to do anything in trucking that you don't want to do. That one bit me in the butt a little bit. I do work a little more than I did before. But she's happy. She's on the truck. She drives nights. And we get to hang out, and we don't run hard teams typically. We typically run a what most people call a super solo. We will go out and run teams every now and then, like, this week if we need to get to Vegas, and then we're going to be OTR for a little bit. By the way, Jeff, we can't. So Jeff and I are planning a tour around the country. We're going to meet up at a bunch of different terminals. And talk to some OOCs and recruiters and drivers and contractors and all that kind of stuff. But I can't do that until after the 19th of the month, by the way.
Okay.
I forgot. Rosie has plans on the 19th of April. Her and her sisters, all three of them, are going to see Janet Jackson.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. It sounds scary to me, but
she does a good show, though.
Yeah.
I did
but they're doing a
one of her
thing.
shows once.
Yeah. So after that, we'll be doing a national tour, right? And for any of you who are interested still, we probably got room for a couple more people at the Vegas event, April 5th at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas. If you want to go, you better set your home time now because it's upon us. Set your home time for Vegas and let us know that you want to go.
And for those of you guys that want us to do the one-on-ones, if you can either, we'll have a couple laptops there that we could probably use.
Yep.
Vegas is weird. They don't want you using your own stuff. So we got to figure out what we can and can't do there. But
right. We may have to step out of the room.
Best is if you could print out your year-to-date profit and loss statement from whatever accounting service you use and last year's year end, and we can go over your profit and loss statements with you and show you what you need to be looking for and where you might improve on your bottom line a little bit, things to focus on.
Or where you're doing well. We're not just there to be doom and gloom, But
Yeah,
if you are
there's probably some people that we'd look at and say, "Gosh, I got nothing for you." But
right,
that's good. That's good information too. I talked to a guy. I did a consult with a guy a couple months ago, and by the end, I'm like, you're doing good, dude. I mean,
right,
the value of this conversation to you is you now have confirmation that you're doing really well.
right.
I would not change anything you're doing. And then you talk to some guys and you're like, okay, what about this? What about that? You know, either way, there's value to be had in discussions like that.
We will have a Southwest buffet type meal at 1 o'clock on the 5th of April
Hmm.
out there at the Golden Nugget for those of you who will be attending. Uh, the entire conference is free. It's a 1-day event. We'll be going through several speakers. We got Alan Becker doing demonstration on some basic maintenance stuff and brake adjustment, and that kind of stuff. And he's going to be giving away a bunch of tools and stuff like that at the end of the day. Um, and Seabright, our friends there at Seabright, stepped up and paid for the entire thing, so we don't have to charge a fee for it.
Yep.
We were charging $150 to attend, and he said, "Hey, I got you guys." And Tony Dennis will be one of our speakers on during our event, and that man is full of so much business knowledge. It is absolutely insane.
Yeah, he sits on the boards of like 3 companies. This guy, he's not
Yeah,
just an insurance guy.
right. And he
So
has farms, and he just sold a trucking company, and I mean, the dude knows his stuff, like seriously.
mhm.
And he wears overalls most days and has long
Yep.
hair. Just
Oh,
saying.
did I mention that when Don and I showed up to Trucker CFO's office today, he came out wearing a hoodie, blue jeans, and tennis shoes, and sat down and
Nice.
said, "Hey, how you doing?"
I dig it. Just real people. You know what I
You
mean?
know, he knows who his clientele are. He's not wearing a
Right.
suit and tie.
Right. But if you do want to attend last minute and you want to let us know, look, we had to order lunch for a specific amount of people. We have a few extra spots left now. And so if you'd like to attend, like I said, the conference is free. Send me an email over to events@contractorscorner.network, the entire word .network, right? And let me know that you would like to attend. It should be scrolling across the bottom of your screen now, events@contractorscorner.network. And hey, we're trying to build a newsletter as well, something that we Jeff and I have been talking about. And if you go to contractorscorner.cc, see what we did there? .cc, you'll see a very basic website right now. And on that very first page will be a spot to sign up for a newsletter. Look, don't expect it to happen right away, okay? It is something we're working on. But if you'd like to get in that list for when we do start putting stuff out, we're not going to over spam you guys. Don't get crazy. You know what I mean? We're probably talking about a monthly newsletter, type of thing. And we'll see what happens from there. It's a
Yep.
lot of work to do that kind of stuff, just so you guys know. And we still have trucking companies to run on top of everything else. So, yeah, that is contractorscorner.cc. That's the new website. It will start turning into something more beautiful as time progresses.
Hmm.
And we got some other stuff we're working on, but yeah, there's a lot we got working on right now, you guys.
Well, we've been telling you guys about this community thing that we're trying to build, and
Right.
right now that's kind of got the back burner treatment because we got mired in insurance, and then with finding a new accounting service
Right.
and the conference. So we're trying to do things that matter. I think the community thing is a good idea,
Right.
but what matters is getting you guys good insurance, finding a good accountant,
Solid
and
info.
that solid info on that. And then, we'll build the rest of the stuff eventually,
It's coming. We've got some big plans that we're working on, guys, and I think you're all gonna enjoy it. Seriously. I've lost track of chat. What have I missed? Mike Anderson said, "I thought your hobby was going to be having kids."
That
That's
too.
funny, right
That
there.
that's a fun hobby,
Ooh.
at least the attempt at it anyway.
Hey, Craig Hudson said he's going to be going to Ghana. Hate that he's going to miss us in Vegas. Look, I'm not going to lie. I think that would
I
be an
think that
amazing
you're
trip.
probably not going to think of us at all in Ghana.
Right, and that's
I
fair.
I hope that you're not going to think of us at all. on your vacation.
James said, right now he's crashing bad right now with freight. Needs to pick up. We agree.
Yep.
It is tough for everybody right now. So let's not get crazy.
Yeah, I was so busy today, Charlie. Did you catch the Dad IQ today at
I
all?
did not
Yeah.
because of our day today, unfortunately.
Stuff.
Crypto Izzy said, so I'm new here. What do you guys recommend when you get empty? I've been told from my OOC to call the planners. Planners are saying to become relationships with the people that gave the load. No, look, absolutely reach out to planners.
Yep.
Your OOC is there to handle your day to day and should not be your first point of contact. I mean, you should be talking to them on the regular. If you need to.
Yeah. The OOC, the consultant part of that job title, owner
Operator consultant.
They're there to consult with you. Like if you have an idea, bounce that idea off them. If you want to know like what the question you're asking, ask them about it. So I can tell you there is a thing that a lot of us do. So when we're doing the macro 10, if we get a good response from a planner, like a helpful response, which is admittedly rare. I don't want to get into it too much in the weeds here, but it is rare. When you get a good response from one of these guys, at the bottom of that message, there's this direct message code that you can use to contact them directly on the Zonar. Write that down, write the guy's name down, and write that person's terminal down, and try to find out what region they plan. And what will happen is you'll build a list of these people that are actually helpful in the company, and those are the people you're going to contact. So if you get empty, I wouldn't even wait till you're empty. Like the day before you deliver, start contacting the planner that's your go-to guy in that region, and say, "Hey, I'm delivering this load in wherever. What do you got tomorrow?" Or, "Hey, I need a reset. I'm really low on hours, but what do you got in 34 hours?"
Right.
That one's actually more important to me because that 34-hour thing could turn into 48 or longer if you're not real careful. But if you could get a guy to plan you for a 34, so you know what you're doing after your 34, that's gold, man. Because you're not having to get planned based on PTA, right?
Seriously,
You've already got something to do. And when we talk about being proactive, that's the type of things that we're talking about. Is have your list. When one of these guys actually gives you helpful information or a helpful load, or at least responds to you, write it down. And that's when you're back in that area, you contact that guy. What else we got? Do you want to talk about load board?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a huge update. Just reaffirming what we talked about last week as far as the update times on the load board. They're finishing up a sprint on the coding stuff. Should be this week. They'll have a better update for us, I believe, after their meeting this coming Friday. So next Tuesday, we should have some more information to share there, I hope.
There was one nugget of information that was a little bit cryptic, Charlie, that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, go for it.
And that was on-time pickup and on-time delivery.
Right.
So just the fact that Jerry mentioned that means
Clearly
there's an issue.
Right.
So when you guys get access to the load board, which is going to be sometime between now and the end of August, depending on if they add more testers or if they just do the whole thing in August, like they're saying, make double sure that you're able to make those times when you book a load. Because apparently, again, just the fact that he mentioned that means that there's a problem, right, Charlie?
Right.
We need to not have that problem because that will put the whole program in jeopardy for everybody if we're blowing loads that we committed to in that manner.
Right.
So when you do get access to it, please do your planning. Make sure you're on time. This is no joke. This isn't like the planner loads where you can say, "Oh man, I'm not going to make that," in your OOC says, "Okay, we'll just take it off of you and get it on someone else." When you contract for something on a load board, treat it like it's yours. Period. That's the end of that.
Yep, I'm doing some other things here in the background. Sorry. Oh, look at that. Sue Smith up in the house, y'all. Goal is 1,000 contractors on the load board by August.
Yep. Good. And
Hey,
one of the things we've discussed with Brett and with Sue and with Jerry is not everybody needs to be on the load board, Charlie. There are
right.
people, and so if you're one of those people, analyze yourself. If you screw up the load board, right, what's going to happen is if you're late on loads and stuff, they're going to kill your access to it. That's going to be the first step. They'll just kill your access to it, and you'll go back to what you're all doing now. Don't be that guy. There's a level of trust that Swift is handing to us with a load board type situation. Yeah, okay, it's Swift Freight. All right, I get that, but they're allowing us to plan our own trucks. So take that trust seriously. We got a
Hey,
high C from James Pond
we had a question.
from Sue.
Wait, how is it worded?
What do you wish that your OOC knew that they
Right.
don't know? Like
Right.
what's a point of frustration? Like you call your OOC and you ask a question and they either give you a BS answer or they just don't know. And you feel like they should know that. And that's coming from Sue Smith, OOFC extraordinaire. Now that she's training OOCs, that's something she wants to know is what's your guys' thing? What's kind of bugging you? When you ask a question, they don't have an answer that you think they should have. I didn't know Matt was running reefer now. Okay.
Hey, I got a Craig Hudson on the phone, which is funny because what it says is, "Hey Hudson, call me about the debt call this morning." That Google Assistant does weird things. Like it translates horribly. It is so much fun to watch sometimes. So yeah, I'm gonna bring Craig on. So let's do this.
Life on 18 wheels. Let's do that real quick.
Hang tight, Craig.
Will they add Swift Logistics load to the board? And if they do, will it be different rate than the general stuff? Yes, they're adding Swift Logistics loads. We do not know about the rate yet.
As of right now, what they're saying is contracted mileage rate.
Which is what it was when we were running Swift Logistics before.
Right.
The only difference really was that we had more loads to pick up on.
Right.
So that would be the value of it. This whole discussion, I know where you're getting at. This whole discussion about going to percentage, dude, I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not Brett. It's above Brett. It's what we know. But that conversation got slapped down hard when Brett tried to bring that to fruition about a year ago.
And honestly, right now, I would not want to be making percentage right now. Just saying.
No, not right now. Be careful what you wish for, guys.
Right. Craig
All right, let's
Hudson,
get
are you
to
there,
Craig.
buddy? Craig.
Yes, I'm here.
There you
There you
are.
go.
What's
Hello.
up, man?
Not much. How's it going?
Oh, living the dream, brother. We're trying to live the dream, right? So yeah, Jeff and I both missed the DAT show today. And so you said you watched it. So we're gonna put it on you, man. What'd you hear today?
The freight market is still pretty much about the same. They had a special guest on today who talked about who specializes in the rail and port, and he talked about how a lot of companies jumped the gun and saying, watching the government talking about investing all this money in rail and how they must have thought the rail was gonna boom,
Right.
but it's killing their numbers. Like Snyder, JB, Hub Group.
Really?
They've got thousands of containers sitting out in California in ports. These guys are having to run loads for $1,600 from the port of LA to Chicago.
Oh,
and they have no choice but to do it because they got brand new containers sitting out there.
Oh Lord.
So they're going to lose money all of 2023 with hopes of trying to recover next year.
Right.
But they lost.
That's like
all increased.
That's like a thing, a lot of people are saying, well, freight's so bad, we don't have enough loads. What are we doing to cover that? And expecting I mean, a company to operate at a loss, just go get us freight. We don't care what you have to get paid for it. You're going to pay us our contract rate. Yay us, right? And I mean, they don't think about, I mean, we will not work for free, right? I mean, let's just be real. I'm not going to go run freight for free. Craig's not going to do it. Jeff's not going to do it. Why does anyone expect Swift to do it? Why does anyone expect their carrier? Insert name there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, trying to not get into a deal like that sounds like a great plan to me, to where you're operating at a loss. So, I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing, right?
Yeah, it is. Those carriers that he talked about, they increased their trailer capacity over 30% with containers,
Ooh.
and it's hurting them real bad right now.
Oh, I bet that's not going to be pretty on the year-end report.
No.
Stockholders are going to be pissed. Let's just be real.
Oh yeah, $1,600 from LA to Chicago is not a lot of money.
So while we're talking to Craig, hey, why don't you guys answer that question? What is it you wish your OOC knew that you don't think they know? That's kind of a thing that we need to know, right? Get that out there, guys. Craig, how you doing up there on your percentage program? Because Craig is one of the few people out there in our Swift world that's actually running percentage. They took a bit of a hit on their percentage mark, but are you staying busy enough, man?
Yeah, they've been trying to keep us busy for the most part. Some days, when I deliver early, they have to sit till around 11 or 12. Waiting on those loads that the logistic teams and those guys to do what they do to book freight, booking them, and then that stuff open up for the planners to start planning and dispatching. But
right.
Other than that, they've been doing their best to try to keep us steady.
What kind of sit
numbers
time?
are not where they, the longest I've sat to wait on something was about 3 hours. And that was, and the planner communicated to me what he was doing.
Nice.
I was up in upstate New York and had delivered at Target. And there was a load coming out of New York going to Ohio.
Right.
And he was pulling, teeth and nail with the CSR to try to get that.
Right.
Get it, where they could book it. But he could keep me running through the whole weekend by running me out to Ohio.
Nice.
And running me back from Ohio to New Hampshire.
Man. So
yeah, they
the nerve of you, sir, going to Ghana. Man, that's gonna be awesome, dude. How long are you going?
Be over there for 12 days.
Oh, the life, sir. The life. Dude, I dig it, man. I mean, look, and look, people like Craig Hutchison, Ken Kelly, God, there's so many people in the group that, talk about their yearly trips and things like that. And, Ken Kelly's going out there to some tropical island somewhere. There's a couple other people that make similar trips. Look, that's what we're all trying to do, right? We're trying to build this business that we all run here, right? And to be able to actually spend some of that time, it shouldn't just be work, right? I mean, you got to take care of your company, and the company will take care of you, right? So take care of your company.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do. Live within the means that you have available. And right now, look, those means are slimmer for some than others. Let's just be real. It's a tough time for everybody out there. Everybody's not out there running 3,000 miles a week. We got people doing it. Sure. They've got really solid relationships. They in certain lanes and things like that. Craig's in kind of a small niche group within the Swift community up there on the Northeast percentage program. And they look after their guys. They're really trying to bust their humps to keep them busy. But, you got to be able to take that money you're making and then do cool things with it in your life, whether it's, buying cigars, whether it's painting little toy figures that need painting, apparently.
Times I cross GW 3-4 times a week.
Right. Look, that ain't for the weak at heart.
Oh no.
I mean, look, that's real. I mean, and going back to the container thing, Life on 18 Wheels said, the only winner was the companies that built those trailers for real.
Yeah.
You know,
Good for
and
them, though. Good for them.
James said, Tampico, Mexico in July. I'm going to sit on the Gulf for a month. There you go, man. You got to find the balance between the two, right? Work and fun, right? And family and those things that are important to you. Family is important. How do you best take care of your family? Honestly, I'm going to throw it out there. You need to take care of your company, and your company's going to take care of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and,
I mean,
and I'm not
you know the way I do it, Charlie. I might spend a couple months out,
right,
but then I spend weeks at home,
right,
and don't answer the phone sometimes.
right. True story.
So,
Like, can't find him. He's gone. Which is cool. I try not to bug him when I know he's been out for a minute and he's going home, and I'm like, look, man, dude's got to unwind. Got to decompress and all that stuff. And me, I mean, I'm lucky in that, I do the surge thing for Target. I've been doing it for so long, where I come home Monday night, so I can do the show on Tuesdays and spend a little bit of time with the grandkids on, one of the days. And then I typically go back to work Wednesday or Thursday, and try and balance it that way. So I don't spend a ton of time, but just about every week. That's going to change here in the very near future, since we're running out to Vegas and doing some things. We'll be back, like I said, around the 19th for Rosie's show. But then after that, Rosie and I are going to probably be OTR for the next 2 months, which we've already told everybody in the family, hey, look, we're going to go do a thing.
Which means that
real truck drivers.
Which means that Charlie gets to take advantage of the Contractors Corner coaching program with Jeff as his coach.
Right.
Out of the OTR game so long.
Good Lord. This guy. Lord knows I'll need all the help I can get. Oh,
did you call Jerry? Why didn't you call Jerry?
Seriously.
Did you call Coretta? That'll be the big question. Did you call Coretta?
Stop it. Just stop it. Just don't kick the bear, man. Just leave me alone right now. But yeah, finding that balance.
Probably get one of those lows up in Massachusetts.
Look, there are certain places I still won't go, yo. I'm just saying. Legal reasons and all that, right? Just saying. Man, there's some stuff going on in chat. Craig, dude, seriously, man. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, do you know that Craig Hudson was the one who introduced us to Bruce Mallinson?
Yep.
Just throwing that out there. The dude is tied into our world over there, and he's working on getting us connected with Mike and Kevin Beckett, which I'm excited about. I
haven't got a call.
I told Jeff he has to talk to him, because I'm going to be useless.
So Craig, one of the things we're going to be working on sometime, I'm going to say it's in the next year, realistically, because of Charlie's idiosyncrasies, but we want to get up there and get with you and do a tour of Pittsburgh Power's facility, I think.
I'm hoping when I'm out on the road for 2 months.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Oh, yeah.
Because we got to get up there. And that we'll go hang out with you up in Jonesboro or something like that, and then run over and go see Bruce. And man, that would be awesome. And hopefully by then, maybe I'll have an answer out of IEL Swiss people juice, man. Whether or not they are going to punch me in the face for putting on an OPS on my truck.
Yeah, one of the connections we're trying to make is to get Bruce on the phone with IEL, and so he can sell the dang thing to him, so to speak, because there's this weird resistance with those people on some of these modifications. The things that we know will make our engines last longer, and yet they no, you can't do that.
And I'm not even talking about doing extended oil drains. Like, I'm going to put the OPS on it and still change my oil every 50,000 miles, like they told me.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't understand where an argument could come from there. So
yeah, and when we talked to Bruce about that, he was like, "Yeah, I mean, if that's all you do, having that bypass oil filtration, even if you're still doing the standard drains, your engine's going to last longer." So.
Life on 18 Wheels said OPS ? That is an oil bypass system which filters the oil down every
1
so
micron.
often. Yeah, to tiny little bits, man, and just keeps your engine so much cleaner.
Yeah, I actually shot some video of it, but the sound was so bad, Charlie couldn't do anything with it. So we're gonna have to do another one.
But yeah, so hopefully we're gonna get some good information on that, and then get up there and talk to Bruce, and maybe get some video shot, actually putting it on a newer lease truck, right? That would be
Yeah.
cool.
So James Vaughn's asking the same question. So in case you haven't heard me talk about it before, my last oil drain was at 138,000 miles, guys. Now you can't do that with a lease truck because you're contractually obligated to do what they tell you to on the maintenance.
Right.
But what it is so I had this bypass oil filtration system that's an add-on to the truck. I change the filter and I take a oil sample every 25,000 miles. And then I don't change my oil until the people at the oil sample company tell me to change the oil. Because here's the thing. Why do you change oil, Charlie? What's the standard answer?
Because they said so.
Because it's dirty. That's what people tell me.
Right. It's
How do you know
dirty.
it's dirty, Charlie?
It's magic because I went so many miles.
Right. Some people will tell me, well, you could feel the grip between your fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm telling you, if you could feel grip between your fingers off the dipstick, you've
There's
already
problems.
damaged your engine.
Right.
You should have already changed that oil.
I heard a guy tell me it tastes different. I'm like, bro, why are you tasting your oil?
Oh my goodness, that's okay.
It hurt my feelings. Like
Or
my
smell
brain
or this. They have all sorts of excuses. Well, I tell them, well, the lab tells me if my oil is dirty. They tell me what minerals are in it, what impurities are in my oil and at what levels, and they tell me when to change that oil. The only problem I've been having here recently is that the base level of the oil is going down for no apparent reason, which means my oil is getting acidic, which can be a problem. And Bruce Mallinson told me last time I talked to him, he said, we've seen this with the DD15s. And
it was cool. Bruce called him personally.
Yeah, Bruce called me personally, go over my last oil sample. And we went over it, and he's like, we've been seeing this with the DD15s, and we can't understand it. There's no reason for it.
Right.
So he's going to do some research, and I guess there's a filter that you could put in your main filter on the top that gets changed when you do a B service, Charlie.
Right.
That actually has the
additive package.
Additive package in it to put base back into the oil. And so he's going to find out what the best one is for that, and let me know, and I can start doing that filter as well.
Yeah, it was a Kevin Rutherford thing.
Go back to the extended oil drains, because what's a gallon of oil right now? Like $20.
Stupid.
And it's $13 a gallon.
Right.
So instead of doing that, I change my oil when they tell me to. And I actually don't have to change the main filter on top as often either, Charlie.
Right.
Because my bypass filter, that is I think it's a 3 or a 5 micron filter, the big one
right.
that you do during the B service. This is a 1 micron filter that I have as a bypass filter. So that other filter is not doing anything anyway at all. So there's no reason to change it until the paper starts getting.
And now imagine putting an OPS on there from day one when you pick up your lease truck.
Mm-hmm.
How much cleaner is that that motor going to be?
Back to the days of when Rutherford had his show, one of the things that sold me on the OPS was that Bruce said they had a truck in their shop that did that. Truck had 1.2 million on it. Had the older OPS on it, not the new one.
Right.
The older one that was the 3-stage system.
Right.
They opened the engine up, and that the end frame they did on it, they didn't have to do hardly anything to it. There was no pitting. They didn't have to replace the rings.
That's just crazy. Because
the oil was so clean all the time that there was no damage to the engine, basically, at 1.2. The only reason the guy had them crack it open was because it had that much miles on it. He figured he needed an end frame.
Right. Let's take a look. And it was for science. Let's just be real.
Yeah. And so that really sold me on that system.
Go ahead, Craig.
One of the things that I've always loved about Pittsburgh Power is that Bruce has team of not just mechanics there, but engineers
I know
who actually work day
engineers.
in and out to make these trucks run more efficient, and so that we can, increase our bottom line by not, going broke in maintenance issues, and have a truck that can get 1.5 million, 2 million miles.
Right.
Now, I remember when they first came out with the Dorothy before the Catalyst, and they created the Dorothy to pull the soot out. And, now you got the Catalyst, which does an even better job.
Yep. Yeah, he went over us that whole thing of how
awesome.
he went over with us. I think it was before the show where we had him on, how the whole max mileage thing started. He was at the Dallas truck show, and this crazy lady approached him.
Right.
The lady that invented this stuff said, "Hey, I want to use your dyno to test my thing out." And he went over with her. Well, for what you're talking about, it's going to be like $100,000 worth of dyno time.
Right.
And she was like, "Okay, that's fine." And
Cool.
he was intrigued. He's like,
Instantly.
"Really? You're willing to spend $100,000 to prove your product works? Why don't you come up next week and see me?"
Right.
And that's how that whole max mileage thing started. It just started as it worked for the fuel mileage. Then they started looking at the DPF stuff. Then they started looking at this. It just snowballed from there. And now this lady doesn't quite work for him, so to speak, but works with him.
Right.
On these additives. And I guess they're coming out with another. I guess she's got a new one that they're going to start marketing pretty soon that's just for fuel mileage. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. These guys, they test. They don't put anything out there that they haven't tested.
Kind of like Jeff and I. It's all about vetting. Want to know that the product is solid before you put it out with your name on it. Let's just be real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if you.
One of the things.
Go ahead, Craig.
One of the things Bruce talked about this morning on the show with Kevin in the opening was for a lot of guys to start learning to lube their trucks.
Right.
A lot of things can be avoided if you take the time and initiative to get out there and grease and lube that truck.
See, that's something I used to talk about a lot too.
A lot of breakdowns.
And I don't know why I just haven't. Well, honestly, because I haven't been doing it with the new truck. And I actually was talking to Rosie about it. I'm like, look, I need to start doing my truck again, our truck again, rather. And because what I noticed with Chewy was I started noticing different things by being under the truck. You see him right there in front of your face and you're like, hey, let's get on that. And you're like, hey, that looks different than last time, right? So, I mean, you'll start noticing things and keeping things from wearing out, bushings, slack adjusters. I mean, the whole 9 yards, S-cams, keeping those things moving will make them work longer, better, last more, better savings.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I apparently lack the ability to use complete sentences right now.
Well, Kevin used to put those automatic lube things on his truck.
Yeah. They're expensive, but I mean, hell, they work.
Just put the cartridge in, and when it runs out, you put another cartridge in, and it continually just lubes everything.
Right. As long as you kept those lines clean, man, it was flowing. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of little things, and getting out there and doing some, minor maintenance stuff. We talked to Brett about the maintenance on an IEL truck, and they want it done by a shop, a technician, all that sort of thing. I get it. But there's nothing stopping you from getting under there and lubing your truck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, a grease gun costs like $30 on frickin' Amazon.
Do what I did. I went and bought a DeWalt battery-powered Jumbotron, and I love that thing, man. Squeeze trigger, chicka, 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 it's done. Chicka, 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 it's done. Chicka, 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 it's done. And you just keep everything free flowing that way, and you'll end up with less steering apparatus wear, right? Suspension systems.
What a lot of guys probably don't realize, Charlie, and this is going to sound basic and stupid to some people, but not lubing your fifth wheel can cause problems with your tires.
Yes. And then I'll touch your tires and be like, bro, what's going on?
Yeah.
God, I can't wait to get Mike or Kevin Beckett. I'm just like a little girl. I can't help it. They're the ones who got me molesting tires. Just gonna say that. I bought his books like years and years and years ago, and loved those things. Like I was like, oh my god. Unfortunately, I don't know where the hell they are now. They're in a box. I've got boxes that I still haven't unpacked from moving like 7 years ago. It's terrible.
There's Matt again. He's got to beat me on everything. $10 at Harbor Freight, guys.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, Charlie, I had a weird idea.
Yeah.
You know, on the 85 corridor, I live right now far from the Grill Terminal.
Right.
On that 85 corridor, there's nobody that does MD alignment.
Right.
You know, between Atlanta and Richmond. I've been thinking about, you know, getting with Kevin and Mike and learning.
Look,
And,
that's
you know, doing my hometown, you know, possibly, you know, going out there and doing alignment.
so I legitimately thought long and hard about getting that set up, man, and doing that very thing myself, and then teaching someone to do it. If you know, I was going to teach my son how to do it and all that kind of thing. And then I just waited too long. And you know, the area I'm in now is pretty well saturated, I think. But I mean, look, when you can find a spot like that, there's gold to be made, yo. And the service is just amazing. I mean, when you get a guy that knows how to do an MD alignment, the way the truck drives after that, and the wear savings you get on tires and the rest of the components in your entire suspension it's amazing.
Well, and you know, the company's amazing too. I don't
Right.
know if you guys know this, but when you get a MD alignment franchise, there's continuing education involved. They have regular seminars and stuff, and they reiterate things, they go over stuff they've learned. You know, when they learn something new, they let all of their franchisees know about it.
Right.
You know, it's pretty amazing. And you know, DPF Alternatives is the same way. They have, you know, conferences where they talk about new stuff. You know, see, Matthew Nissen, I see a lot of drivers don't know how or where the lube points are. Yep, that's a thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Look,
one of the
I've seen
things.
techs. We were losing for a while there. We were losing throwout bearings on a bunch of Swift trucks, whether they were company or contract trucks, IEL trucks, at a couple of shops because the techs were not lubing the throwout bearing, and they didn't know. I'm like, how? What? How do you not know that? And that's when I started lubing all my own stuff
Yeah,
on Chewy. Because I got scared. In fact, I started before Chewy. I started doing it on my 680 for quite some time.
yeah,
They
that's one
scared
of
the
the
hell
things
out of me.
that Charlie and I were talking about doing is when we visit these terminals, that to have the OOCs out of that terminal, let their people know that we'll be there, and
Right.
do a little clinic, like show everybody how to lube their truck. Just take a day and do that.
Simple, easy to do. Doesn't take long.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally takes a matter of minutes to do, you know, and while you're there, you get to see all these little fascinating things. And the next time you go into there, you'll be like, oh, that's a little bit different. Hopefully you don't see that, but you know, if something has changed, maybe you'll notice it, right? So, you know, I mean, there's a lot to be learned by just getting under your truck and greasing that thing up. So, you know, yeah. Hey, if you guys got questions, by all means, throw them up. Sorry, guys, we're rambling, and we've gone over 2 hours already. So
Oh,
good
man,
on you
time
guys for
flew on
keeping the
this one.
conversation, right? But I still haven't seen any answers. Come on, you guys. Craig, is there anything you wish your OOC knew that you don't think that they're aware of?
Oh, see, she's pretty well abreast on a lot of stuff. She's been with OOC with Swift for a long time.
Right.
She takes some getting used to, you know.
Right.
But
hey, that's relationship building.
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah,
Learn
you know,
the quirks.
once I built that relationship with her, you know, at first it was very rocky,
Right.
you know, dealing with her. But you know, once we built that relationship and we met face to face, it's been smooth. Anything I need get done, you can't get it done, it can't be done.
Right. And look,
You know,
and that says a lot. So I dig that you have a good relationship and you got a squared away OOC. Look, to be honest, there are a lot of new OOCs out there. And some of you guys that are listening to us or watching us right now don't actually have an OOC. You have a driver leader, driver manager, whatever that title is these days. I don't know what that title is. I don't know what their official title is anymore. I call them driver leader, driver manager. And there is a difference in the training they receive. There is a difference between the model on how to keep a company truck profitable versus keeping a contractor truck profitable.
Yep.
And yeah, Sue said that it wasn't a truly fair question. Your girl is pretty awesome. So,
Yeah, and Sue, we'll do a post on the private Facebook group for you.
Right.
And ask that there. My guess is that we'll get more answers there.
Life on 18 Wheels said, I think you get more answers if the question was directed towards planners. Woo, there's a touchy one. So, yeah.
We have some ideas about that too, but that requires some serious talking to Swift about it.
And education and things like that. So we're working on it. Life on 18 Wheels. We've got some stuff in the works that we're working on now to try and get some things a little bit different. So,
all right.
Craig, I'm going to cut you loose, brother. I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for calling in because, Jeff and I just didn't even get to that today. It sucked. It didn't suck. We just been hella busy today. It's been a crazy day.
Yeah, we're actually this will interest
you guys
too. This might interest some folks because this will hit the YouTube here in the next week or so. We're actually working on a video for Jeff Reese and ES Advantage. That's a step-by-step how to fund the card, because
starting with $500.
Starting with $500. So I realize, and Charlie and I have fallen into this too, that barrier to entry on that discount is the prepaid nature of the card. But there is a way that I've successfully done each time I've fallen behind to get that card funded back up without hurting the household budget.
Right.
And it just takes $500, and in simple terms, and the video will be detailed on it. Yes, roll that discount into the next week's funding, and within a month or two, you've got $3,000 on that card, which is enough to cash flow. So look forward to that. What else we got, Charlie? We already committed something to
Craig,
Sue.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you, man. We'll catch you on the other side, right?
All right.
All right, buddy. Be safe. So yeah, I mean, dude, there's so much that we're working on right now, and God, I don't want to sound like a cop out, but we are trying to knock these things out one at a time. That video on funding the card is going to be huge, I think, for a lot of people. I mean, we've kind of gone over it here and there, and hey, try this, try that, try this, and I think that when you break it all down, I think that you'll be able to see quite a few things, and it's not an overnight thing.
No.
It's going to be a process, something you stick to, and over time you will get to a point where you are no longer worrying about it. It is just funded, it is cash rolled, and it is rolling over week after week after week. And if you have a bad week or two, guess what? You're still funded.
And then you just start the process over again when you can.
We're gonna chop this thing down into a 5-minute video that breaks it all down and explains it.
We got the naysayers out there like, well, you guys don't even always use it. No, we don't, because you know what, Charlie, life happens.
Right.
Trucks break down.
You almost
family
get out
crisis,
of trucking because your neck is tore up.
Neck surgery, whatever.
Good God.
But what we're saying is the discount on that card is enough to where you gotta get using that card one way or the other. Some guys are in a really good position overall, and we applaud you, where they just don't pay themselves for a week.
Right.
And put it all on the card. So bam, there you go, $3,000 on the card.
Right.
Some people can't do that. Some of us have expensive mortgages, right? There's a way to do it without breaking the bank.
Right.
The important thing is to start doing it.
Right. You don't need $3,000 up front to start benefiting from that fuel card.
Yeah, I mean, if you have $500 on it, I guarantee you're going to save $70 that first week on fuel.
Right.
It was
Roll
worth
that
it.
in.
Roll it.
Next week you got $570. Doesn't take but a couple weeks, and you've got several fill-ups on your card ready to go.
Hey,
And then it
someone had
starts growing
mentioned brake
exponentially.
chambers. Somebody had mentioned brake chambers on the group. I don't think it was James though, but he just replaced 2 brake chambers. Somebody that was on an MRP, and apparently brake chambers are not covered under MRP.
Right.
But you know that, you know, when you're under the lease, I think they want you to have it done like at a Swift shop or at a TA or something. But
Right.
even if you pay someone to do it, that's just not that expensive of a repair.
Right.
You know, I actually had Iron do one for me because I was being lazy, and I think it cost me $200 all in to get the brake chamber done. So,
Gregory Spears, what's up? Glad you're here, joined us. Thank you so much. Oh, I should clear that banner. I apologize. Look, Craig Hutchinson isn't on the phone anymore. My bad. He was. That was cool. Thanks, Craig, for calling in, man. I do appreciate it. But
Yeah,
hey, if you guys got any questions, by all means, please throw them up.
that's interesting about the rail yards.
Right? Could you imagine? That just, man, you think it's about to boom and it's a bust.
Yep. That's business though.
Right?
Somebody made
Yeah.
money.
You rolls the dice, you takes your chances. Got that from
Why don't you
pinball
put
machine back in the day.
why don't you put Trucker CFO stuff back up there for a bit?
Oh, yep. The guy who has control. Look at him. Look at this guy. He's just relaxed. He's like, whatever. There you go. I got you, man. Don't hurt your pretty little head, sir. I got you.
Hey man, we all have our roles.
Right. So how can we get on the load board list? You can send an email to Jerry_White at swifttrans.com. Jerry spelled Jerry _White, WHITE at swifttrans.com. Let him know you'd like to get on the list. He will pretty much acknowledge you. He'll let you know if he got you on the list. Like Sue said, they're trying to get it up to 1,000 people by the end of August. So, there's a thing. You could, look, if you happen to get into the Phoenix terminal, pop in and see him. Talk to him face to face. He's right there in the owner-operator division. As you walk in, he's sitting
right next to Becky.
Yeah, right next to Becky Campbell. So, and what will that do? Help build a relationship with Jerry White. Now he's got a face and a name to a truck. And you know what? Maybe the next time you call, he's like, oh, yeah, I remember you. Cool, man. We talked that day.
Yep.
And those things are important.
Yeah. Every time I'm in Phoenix, if I'm there during business hours, I go and at least say hi to people in the division.
Right.
It's not always about business. How's your family doing? Stuff like that.
Right. But hey, learn those things. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's those things that get you remembered. When you remember someone had a kid's birthday, hey, how'd that birthday party go?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It's little tiny things that can build those relationships. It doesn't have to be all about work all the time. I mean, first thing you ought to say is, hey, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And actually care. I know that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes even when it is about business, usually I'm talking to Becky about something. It's 5 minutes of talking about family first.
Right.
Have
a conversation. We're people. Don't be the guy yelling at them.
No. I've seen her face change when that happens. When someone calls her on the phone.
It's no fun. You sure as hell don't want to be that guy. I mean, I'm just saying, you don't want to be known as that guy. I mean, they get it. Look, we get frustrated sometimes. We maybe don't quite act right, but
Roland Espinoza has a load board question. Speaking of load board, is it updating every 3 minutes now? I took 2 weeks off, didn't attend the last 2 meetings. Yes, as of Friday.
Yes.
They started that, and we're already seeing the effects of it. because there's been a couple guys that were looking at a load and went to book and it said, nope, denied, because some planner already planned it in that time. So it is working. So that
Right.
that's actually a good thing, because we don't
Right.
want to double book loads. And what was happening, for those that are interested, what was happening is we were taking precedent over planners. And so we would go in and book a load that was already on a company truck or another owner operator's truck,
Right.
and it was pulling it off that other truck and giving it to us. And the planners were calling BS on it, like they should, and pulling it off our truck. And the guys are like, "What the hell? I booked that load."
Right.
Well, now that's not an issue, because it's updating fast enough to where it's catching that stuff.
Right. Mike Anderson said, I'm a little afraid to call Trucker CFO because he'll rip me a new one for all the stuff I don't do. LOL. I'm that lazy guy that makes 120K and I don't do anything. Well, you know what? Don't let that stop you, man. Let him get you right, and get you pointed on the right path, and maybe help keep you from that audit, that all too evil audit thing.
Yeah.
Right?
So one of the things that he's really big on is you're the CEO.
Right.
So his people will make recommendations based on your numbers that they see. But the decision on whether or not to implement what they recommend to you is 100% yours. And they have no problem with that.
Right. By the way, shout out Roland. Good to see you, buddy. Glad you got a couple of weeks off and we're able to do some things other than trucking. Crypto just looks like he's dying over there. Crypto Izzy used to plan 3 trucks before I came to Swift. Would love to try it here. And there you go. I mean, that's a thing that might be workable here fairly soon. You know what I mean? I just like the fact that, we'll get a little more control. Right now, it's not what it's meant for. It's kind of an extra thing for us. They would rather that, we are being planned on Swift Freight, right? But they want to help those of us who are testing are out there doing that thing, and we're trying to work within the whole system. And, some people are almost exclusive. Some people got a mix of both.
We actually are a little more restricted than what it'll be in the end. Right now, we're required to book a load and not book another one until we're dispatched on our current load. So they're not allowing us
a day or two.
They're not allowing us to stack at all right now, but that's going to change once it goes live. So again, though, be careful with that stacking stuff.
Right.
Because like I stacked a 3-load stack when this first started and it gave Tisha a heart attack almost, because it was like the second load in my stack had issues with the delivery. Right. So that was like, crap.
And I ran into the same thing.
And this was when it was Swift Logistics Freight. So there was no giving that stuff
we
back.
were absolutely committed.
You owned it. So yeah.
I had a 4-load stack on me, and the very first load had a delivery problem. And I was stacked all the way from Florida on 3 more loads into Texas, around Texas, and back out of Texas. And it was almost an absolute train wreck, because
now to be fair, Charley and I in particular were trying to break the system at the time. So
we damn near did. And that was actually on the last load board, not the current one. So it was something else.
But just be careful with when it does go live, and if they do allow stacking, just make sure that you've got enough time between loads. I already decided I'm in a different situation than like a Charley that has a truck payment. Since I don't have a truck payment, I mean, even what I do now, I'm looking for a load that picks up the day after I deliver.
Right.
I mean, I could be delivering at 5 a.m. I still want to load the day after, because, I got stuff to do, other stuff. And it gives me a little bit of break between loads, and I'm still running. And some of you guys are like, oh, how do you make money with that? Well, I don't have a truck payment. I'm still running between 1,800 and 2,200 miles a week, which is plenty for me. If I wanted to hit it bigger, I could. I could tell you there's already, though, a little bit of pushback from the actual planning team on this,
Right.
because some of them don't like us. Well, we're taking we took their jobs,
Right.
But
There's a couple of them.
It's not very many of them, but they seem to be a little boisterous, I guess.
Most of the planners we've talked to about are like, man, I don't have to plan you guys. That's great.
Yep. Uncle Russ is with us. I don't have to deal with you effers.
Right? Yeah. One less guy I want to choke over the phone.
So just make sure that when you do get access to this thing that you're not late, because I think that if you are, they're going to pull that privilege from you in a heartbeat.
So that's actually something we should talk about real quick too, is the on-time thing. I mean, we touched on it earlier, but we don't know the exact numbers, but we do know that it costs Swift more to run a contractor truck. It actually costs them more for us to run freight for them now. It didn't used to be that way. A little over a year ago, it was the opposite. We were the cheaper option, but because of the fuel surcharge and everything else that's out there, we are now more expensive to run than a company truck. So what do we do to offset and create value to get them to plan us more frequently than a company truck, right? We need to provide on-time service. We need to be above and beyond. We need to really focus on that. And that's something that Jeff and I have been talking about. And, I don't know, random just popped into my head just now. And it's something we actually want to dive deeper into later to, how is it we're providing value to our customer?
Yep.
And so, I mean, that's like a whole long discussion, but, keep it in your mind now, you guys, seriously, on time delivery and pickup right now is super, super important. Times are hard. Freight sucks. Swift customers are going to be like, look, you failed us on 3 loads last week. Maybe now that the market is cheaper, we're going to look at someone else.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, you gotta really focus on this on time thing, guys. And, being that Jerry brought up today, apparently there's an issue out there.
Yep.
It's like when you get those safety messages, hey, 3 points of contact, put on your cleats. You know what happened? Someone just didn't hold on and fell on their head.
Yep. And how this came about was Charlie and I were working on a presentation to show what our value was to the company. We were going off of that, what we thought we knew from a year and a half ago. And we got talking to some people in the know, and it's not that way right now. So it's completely flip-flop from what it used to be. It used to be kind of crazy, actually. It was like the overhead was like 80% for a company driver, 40% for an owner operator. Now it's the other way around.
Right.
And we think this is numbers that Swift's not going to give us. It's proprietary.
Right.
But our guess is it has something to do with that fuel surcharge, because they're dealing with contracts that they wrote a year ago.
Right.
Well, now their surcharge is twice what it was a year ago. Doggone it. So where's our value now? On-time delivery.
Quality of service, yo.
Yep.
And look, like Mike Henderson said, seriously, and I kind of live by this myself, if I'm 15 minutes early, I'm an hour late. I absolutely live by that, man. I look, I can tell you with absolute certainty that in my entire career at Swift since 2008, I've never had an at-fault late pickup or delivery.
I've had one.
So, I mean, that's just the thing. I'm not trying to toot my horn, but if you ain't early, you're late. That was from the military for me. And my mom was the same way. I mean, I got that before the military, but boy, was it drilled into me in the Army. If you ain't early, you're late. And Lord help you, you can't beat the first start in. I'm just saying. You could try. I was never able to do it.
That guy.
Right? And, Crypto, as you said, straight up, on-time delivery, it's your lifeline. Sue, if you want to put out freight, help keep those customers. If you want Swift to put out freight, help keep those customers. I can't read.
Yep.
you know. Yeah, I mean, you just gotta keep that going, and God, it's just so important. I don't know how to stress it anymore without sounding like a nagging Nancy, right? Because it's not what I'm trying to do. It's just, it really truly is that important. Matt Nissen asked about, is it the TA in Las Vegas we park at and meet at? That's where I'll be parking.
I'm taking the grocery getter.
Yeah, Jeff's driving up in the.
Actually, guys, depending on when you're going to be there, I'm bringing my minivan down. It's not pretty, I drive a $2,000 minivan. Just saying. So if
Right.
you're embarrassed by that, then don't ask. But we can come get you at the truck stop if you want us to, so you don't have to pay for an Uber.
Right.
We'll be there. We'll be there Monday afternoon. So what we did last year, by the way, Matt, is most of us reserved our spots like 3 weeks ahead of time.
Right. I was like 3 months ahead. It was great. Yeah. And we watched those spots start dwindling on that week. It was funny.
Yeah, by the time Charley got there, he couldn't even park next to me.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So
yeah, like you said,
that was the first time I saw Chewy, and I was like, "Holy crap, you weren't kidding!"
Right? She's ugly, but man, she's a workhorse. But like Matt said, if so, make sure you reserve a parking spot ahead of time because security here is strict on parking. They absolutely are. They ain't playing.
They're strict on everything there, man. That place,
right? So yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and throw it up there. Last call for questions. If you guys got anything, please throw it up. We'll try and dip into it real quick before we wrap this. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap this thing here pretty quick. Jeff and I actually still have another video we need to make today, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's late. So yeah. And yeah, I mean, look, you guys, we harp on all these things and that sort of thing. And I get labeled Mr. Swift and all that kind of stuff. Look, you can disagree with a lot of things, but I try to approach things from finding a win-win scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good business will work in win-win. It doesn't have to be win-lose. I win, they lose. Good business will end in win-win. They win, I win, right? Mm-hmm. And by helping them do that, then by all means, we have done something good.
And make no mistake, you guys see us on the show, or you may meet us on the street somewhere, and we talk a good game about Swift, but there are things that we have gone to the mat over for our own businesses over the years. Sometimes we win, most of the times we lose. I mean, Swift is a juggernaut. So
life on 18 wheels, it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now. The standard OTR van rate is 0.475 and the West Coast is 0.10 still. So there you go, man. I'm glad you got that in there. Let's see. Oh yeah, God, you got all kinds of answers across the bottom there. James Vaughn 4.75, Matt Nissen 4.75 or 0.475. Decimals, who cares? West Coast fuel surcharge at 10. There you go. Look at you guys. You guys are all on it, man. I dig it. And that's what we love about you guys, keeping that info there and keeping us on our toes. And, if you got an issue with something we say, hey, let us know. Jeff and I are grown men. We're grown folk. We can have a discussion. I like learning new things. And if you can teach me something new, I am all about it. And I will spread the word. I will help you get that out there because I dig it. And if we can find a better way to build that mousetrap, man, let's make it happen.
Absolutely.
But all right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it here. We've been at this 2 hours and 44 minutes now. And we do appreciate you guys coming in. Jeff, you got anything you want to throw out there? Sue, you want to throw anything out there? Type it up quick. What about you, Jeff? You got anything?
Nope. I'm good, man.
Give Sue a second here. I don't think we're gonna give her a minute and see what she has, or she's just ignoring us right now, and that's cool too. I don't know how she could ignore me. I'm just gonna blow up her phone and text message just for fun. Grant's gonna punch me in the face. That'll be awesome. Hey, Life on 18 Wheels said, appreciate all you guys do. Hey, we appreciate you guys and being a part of this community. Without you guys, there is no us, honestly. I mean, we're just two guys talking on the interwebs here. Yep. So,
Hey, and if you found value in what we did, hit that like button, guys.
Oh, look at you,
know,
Jeff. Good job,
you know,
brother.
it does help with what it mainly helps with is the algorithm in YouTube, so that we show up and when people search for stuff a little bit more, so you get a little bit better exposure doing that.
Right. So, you know, it helps them help. It helps them help us help more. What? I got confused there. I almost got lost. Not going to lie.
Yep.
So, yeah, by all means, drop comments. If you're catching us on the replay, we are glad you folks are there too. I should have actually said this at the beginning of the show. I apologize. But, you know, we've got a lot of people now that are starting to watch the show. We're realizing that, you know, we've got quite a few night people and some other folks that are out there doing their own thing, that are calling in and getting insurance and things like that. So thank you guys. Seriously.
Okay.
Again,
I'm just gonna say real quick. Okay, Sue. That's all I'm gonna say.
that's funny. Crypto Easy said he's like you, Jeff. 7 kids.
All right.
Ooh. I couldn't do it.
Beat me by one.
I did 2. I did. Wait,
Yeah, we
I had
both wanted big family, so it worked out.
Right. Yeah, I wanted a big family, and then I had 2 kids, and I'm like, oh, this is great. This is cool. I look. My mother's revenge was my children. Let's just be real.
You know,
They are a lot like mine.
my mother in front of my wife cursed me with children like me, and we
Right.
called her out on it a couple years ago. She swears she never said that, but I think every mother says that.
That's funny, right? My mom will absolutely admit to it. She's like, "Ha ha, sucker." So, but you know what? I got to tell you, mine were actually way more mellow than me for the most part. Like the bad things, I didn't catch, but all the other quirky things, they are there. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this. I'm gonna ramble too long. You guys stay safe, take care of each other. There's no one out here taking care of us but us. So look after each other. You know what I mean? Spread the word, let people know what we're doing and what we're about. And we will see you guys here next week, live from Vegas. Jeff and I will both be in Vegas next Tuesday.
Yep.
Just saying. And see how that show goes. Could be interesting. Probably going to be a short show, not going to lie. Because I don't know. I'm just going to throw it out there just in case. If it goes long, that'd be interesting too. So, yeah, we will see you guys next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern time like we do every week. And we look forward to seeing you guys. And those of you joining us out in Vegas, we will see you there. Can't wait for that. Woo!
Yay.